Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Psychogenic Symposium. I am here with my bestest of friend, Will,
Hey guys.
as well as a new guest, that of Jonas Tintenseher. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, the guests are finding their way in somehow. Hello, Jonas.
I'm
How you doing?
I'm in your walls.
Oh no.
I've been lurking. Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you
Well,
for
thank
coming.
you. For those who don't know of your work, do you want to give a sort of a quick introduction to who you are?
Yeah, well, you probably don't know my work because I'm not very famous. To be honest, I'm surprised I'm here. But I am a writer and game designer. What do I say that's relevant? I do indie video games sometimes with a group called Team Elsewhere. I'm on a group that's doing a visual novel as well, Red Clover Case Files. But I'm here because I've been doing a lot of homebrew for Draw Steel. I like to do homebrew RPG stuff on my itch, and recently I've been getting super into homebrew and Draw Steel. I have a million projects. Recently, I did a prompt every day for Tabletop Promptober. That was a lot of fun, which got a decent amount of attention on Blue Sky from the community. I also made Memories of the North Wind, which is a leveled treasure set for the first community jam of the Timescape, which I don't know how to say this without it sounding like a humble brag, but I won for that one, um, and got some very lovely dice, which I'm very proud of.
Well deserved. A
And
win.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I also just this week, or within the last 5 to 7 days, um, I have also signed on with Triglav Games, who are making Boggets of Kingsmire at the moment and the Vampire class. Um, they N&M was just like, "Hey, do you want to come do some design for us?" And I was like, "Sure, whatever. I got nothing else going on." And as of like 2 days ago, I'm also a playtest coordinator now. Not one of the contractors. I'm not getting paid, but I am going to be also playtesting upcoming MCDM stuff, and uh, that'll be a lot of fun too.
Well, congratulations on all of that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's
that's
too
all super
much. You can probably
exciting.
cut some of that out, but
No, that's wonderful. Also,
it was a busy week.
I love you probably haven't heard me. I only, won a community award and I've been hired by a game company that has two high visibility funded Kickstarter projects and I'm like a community coordinator.
Two of those things are a week ago, which means I haven't done anything yet.
That's fair.
And the jam I'll take credit for. I mean, I'm proud of the jam.
You should be. Your entry was really good.
That's really exciting to hear because I think Tree Love Games has been doing like the best probably work for Joss Steele in the space, at least the most professional appearing, right? So that's really
I
exciting.
Yeah, I got to. I was. I mean, I participated in some playtests of the Vampire class and of Boggets, when they were being run by their contract testers and stuff. They got Spencer Testo to run their playtests in Samagurin, I think, and I like it was playtest, so there were some things to fix, but like top to bottom, it was really impressive, fun material, and I have been excited for them to go live ever since. And I was just like, "Hey, you want to do some of that?" And I was like, "Oh, sure."
Yeah, that is it's really cool. I have to say, I'm really excited for the vampire class because I don't know if I've
Same.
mentioned this before on the show, but I love vampires. It's
Yes.
probably the second RPG I was ever enamored with because I'd played lots of RPGs in between being introduced to D&D 3.5 and the RPG I'm about to mention is Vampire the Masquerade. Um, I don't know what it was about Vampire the Masquerade because, as any fan of Vampire the Masquerade can tell you, there are a lot of problems with Vampire the Masquerade from a
Hmm.
design standpoint, from White Wolf in the '90s and all the stuff they wrote that you look at and go, "Oh, yep, that hasn't aged very
And White
well."
Wolf in the
Well,
2010s.
yeah, and White Wolf in the
It
2010s.
took them a while.
Yeah, it took them a while. Um, so yeah, that's just I don't know. I love vampires, so having a vampire class for Draw Steel is sounds wonderful to me.
you're in very good company. I also love Vampire the Masquerade, and I not only do I love it, but the one of the Triglav devs who like inspired them to start working on the Vampire in the first place, also a big fan of Vampire the Masquerade. So uh, we're gonna merge these games. We're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, as everyone should be. If you don't like Vampire the Masquerade, you're wrong. No, I'm just, sorry. That
If you don't like Vampire the Masquerade, then we won't have as much to talk about, but you probably have better mental health than we do.
yeah, no, that's fair. Oh, yeah. So I guess
Yeah,
probably.
so Will, why are we here? What is our podcast? I forgot. I have an amnesia, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I also forgot the ones that I listened to. So
Oh, perfect. Yeah, so this is, for those of you who may not have been to it before, this is the Psychogenic Symposium. It's mine and Jacob's tabletop RPG design podcast, though right now we're on a bit of a draw steel kick. We get together, sometimes with a guest, and we talk about the system. We'll give each other prompts in the system. The prompts sometimes are as short as one word, which I personally love. I've given such wonderful prompts as waning and werewolf. And sometimes they're a little bit longer. Like I can only remember my prompts because I'm a horrible, terrible person. Probably cut that little bit in between, but I can only remember I can only remember my prompts off the top of my head. So I had one where no light can reach you, I believe. I think is what the one I gave to Tamwen. So sometimes they're a little longer. We even occasionally give prompts that kind of force the designer's hand down a certain road. I think the one of the first prompts I gave to Jacob was design a mystery for Monster of the Week that can't be solved with violence alone. So
yeah,
kind of
Monster of the Week, another favorite game.
Monster of the
Love it.
Week's really good.
Such a good game.
Yeah. So, but we'll give each other these prompts, then we'll take a break. It's usually about a week. Sometimes it's a little shorter, sometimes a little longer, but we aim for a week. And during that week, we will have 3 hours to design something towards that prompt. And then after that break, we come back together. We talk about what we made. We'll talk about things that challenged us, things we like about what we made, things we might work on, change, tweak if we work on it in the future or if we just had more time. And I think that about covers the important parts.
Wow,
Absolutely.
sounds like a really good podcast that everyone should listen to. Not like I have any sort of
I agree. Though
listening
one
preference.
wonders how they hear the message that it's good and they should listen to it if they are not already listening to it.
That sounds like a skill issue to me. I don't know.
Me and Will have described Drostil enough. I think it's time for someone else to take a go at it. Jonas, do you mind giving us sort of a rundown of why you like Drostil and like to design for it?
Oh my god, I would love to. I adore Draw Steel. It's probably my favorite tabletop game at the moment. I think, at least in terms of the tactical combat space. I am a narrative gamer at heart. I love those Powered by the Apocalypse games. Love Vampire. Love stuff like that. Blades in the Dark. But in terms of tactical combat and heroic fantasy, Draw Steel is unquestionably at the top of my list. I've played D&D through 4 editions. I've played Lancer, which was previously my top for tactical combat. I've played Pathfinder and Pathfinder 2nd edition, and I've played a smattering of other tactical indie games, and it is incredible how much additional weight you get to the system just by making it so that you can never do nothing. And of everything else, there's a lot of design in Draw Steel that I like, but the number one thing that I am just completely in love with is you can never do nothing on your turn. You never roll and miss and you just sit there and cry. You never fail to do your check and fall flat in your face and eat dirt. You're always doing something cool. You're always doing something cinematic. And even though it is a tactical game, it's pretty crunchy, but the design of the game is encouraging a couple different things. It's encouraging its keywords. You're supposed to be heroic. You're supposed to be cinematic. You're not worrying about stuff like rations and ammo and travel times. And you are also not just doing the same, like some crunchy systems can kind of get into this trap where everything has to be so rigidly balanced that you don't get a lot of interesting like flavor and effects to it. But the design of Draw Steel is open enough, even though it is that kind of crunchy core, it's still open enough at the fringes to allow you to just kind of do extra silly or crazy or cinematic things that you wouldn't be able to do in another game, or at least wouldn't be encouraged to do in another game. Like there are like basically the entire troubadour class is something, and I think Colville said this, is like I don't think there's another game out there where you could make the troubadour class, especially the auteur subclass, and have it do all the stuff it does, where you can just write an ability called classic chandelier stunt and then design it so that it kind of mimics jumping up and swinging on a chandelier and hitting someone. It's a kooky system in the best way, super fun to play, always engaging, and I truly can't see myself going back to the old style of, oop, I rolled a 4. All right, that's my turn. Never again.
It's fair. Yeah, it is really
I
cool. Sorry, go ahead, Jacob.
I totally agree. I think Draw Steel is weird in a way a lot of systems aren't, like in their base game. There's not a lot of other fantasy games where two of their default ancestors are just aliens. I don't like it legitimately aliens. I don't think that's really pretty common. Or you could be like a sort of worm hive mind as like an option in the base book. Like there's so much weird in that base RPG that kind of gives you permission to do weird stuff as well, which I kind of love.
Yeah, one of the things I got a lot of praise for in my jam submission was the way that the treasure set works is the main attraction is the spear, which when you kill someone with the spear or knock them out, I think technically, no, I think it's kill because you don't want to freeze them in ice. You turn them into a frozen statue, and then you can slide the frozen statue around and bump people into it, and it explodes and does cold damage to everything. And that's such a like video gamey weird design that I would never attempt. It would require so much extra work to codify in most other games. But in Draw Steel, the chassis is robust enough, and especially the focus on like forced movement and stuff like that, that it becomes really easy just to say in natural language, yeah, it's a statue, you can slide around, you do this with forced movement, it explodes this way, done. And it works 100% functionally. It's really evocative, and it's something that I just couldn't do in D&D or another game.
Yeah, I agree. It's really one of the things that's really interesting to me for Draw Steel, looking at the Troubadour class in specific, then thinking about this is that right now I'm playing in an Earth Dawn second edition game, and it's a great time, and it's very interesting to see because they have one of the classes in Earth Dawn is Troubadour, and it's very interesting to see how the different systems have taken a similar idea and kind of ran with them, and and I love the modularity of Draw Steel, and I'm going to get back to the Troubadour very shortly, because there are lots of things in Draw Steel that are very cool and do not fit in the world I usually run my fantasy games in. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would let somebody play a Troubadour, just because I don't like the fantasy they're portraying is really cool, but I don't know if I don't know if I gel with it in my own fantasy world. You can ask Jake. I've actually started, I think, since I don't think I was running it the last episode. I've actually started running Draw Steel, and you can ask Jacob. I had a whole list of things. I was like, look, these things just don't exist in my world. I'm not saying that design for them is bad in Draw Steel. I'm not saying I don't like them. Some of them are things I really like. Like there are no Dragon Knights in my world. I love Dragon Knights. I think they're one of the coolest ancestries because I love dragons. Uh,
Right.
but I love that so much of the design is modular enough that like I can just take the Memenek and Time Raiders and out of Draw Steel, and that doesn't really like the system doesn't feel incomplete if you tell your players, okay, there are no Memenek or Time Raiders. I don't, I just don't want to play with the Timescape stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool and really good and robust because I think a lot of other systems, if you start taking big chunks out of them, they kind of start feeling not as fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know we talked about your memories of the North Wind, and I think we briefly mentioned, or maybe I think somebody mentioned that on your Blue Sky you had been doing
Mm,
like daily or weekly posts.
daily. Yeah.
Daily. Yeah. Do you are there any of those that you particularly liked or thought were particularly fun or good or even just got a lot of engagement that even if you thought like,
Yeah.
oh, this one's kind of a dud, but everyone else seems to like it.
There were, yes, actually several of those specifically. Yeah, so there's in October, people tend to they do other months of the year too, but October is a common one. You have a list of prompts, and then people do like Inktober for drawings, or like music, or audio design, or other art pieces. And I found one this year that was specifically Diwatamni on B-Sky. That's Diwatamn. I think that's an L actually at the end. Diwatam NL. I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong, but they posted this list of prompts and said this is for tabletop games. So, make indie games, make one shots, make pages, make homebrew, like whatever you want. And I decided to try and get my, I'd already been doing some homebrew for Draw Steel, but I wanted to really like zero in and stress test a bunch of different parts of the system. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do only Draw Steel homebrew because I do on my itch.io, I make one page RPGs and other stuff all the time. So like, let's just do individual things. It'll keep the scope low. So let's see. Let me just scroll through and go over a couple highlights. Two of them got reposted by Colville, which is nice. I'm
Oh,
not gonna
yeah, that is really cool.
not gonna. Yeah, I mean, he
Yeah,
reposts
yeah.
stuff he sees in the community. I'm not like, ooh, I'm Colville approved, but there were two that he liked specifically. Apparently, the first one was I did a montage challenge, which if you guys encountered this in the Draw Steel community.
Montage challenges in general.
Montage challenges as opposed to montage tests. Montage tests are from the
Oh
book.
no, I haven't
Oh.
encountered challenges.
Cool. So this is something that came up in the it's a thread someone named Flutter Sprite started in the MCDM Discord in the homebrew section, where basically if you run montage tests from the book, like I ran skill challenges in many other games.
Mm-hmm.
They happen in Lancer, they happen in Pathfinder, D&D, all that, and they're fine. Like they're cool. It's fun to get creative. Let your players do that. But if you run them by the book in Draw Steel, they're really easy. Now there's there's a stopgap solution someone suggested where you do first round medium tests, second round hard tests, flat. Like you don't set it based on the challenge, it's just that. And that keeps it from being too easy while preserving the basic structure. But then there's this other idea called a montage challenge, and I don't know if they got inspired by something else, some other system that might. There's a dust elemental in my throat. I don't know if they got inspired by some other system that I'm not familiar with, but basically, instead of just listing things to do, and then the player says, I'm going to do it this way, and you roll, and you're done. And you come up with a reward or a consequence if you need to. Which, again, like, it's totally fun. I've do it a million times. It's great for a little montage scene or a little travel scene or just adding some flavor to the story. But if you want something that's a little more active and a little more tactical, what you do is you lay out the challenges like normal, but for each one, It's a specific thing with a specific outcome. And you separate these into threats and opportunities. So a threat is something a bad thing that will happen if you don't resolve it. And an opportunity is a good thing you can get if you go after it. And you present this list to the players at the start of the challenge and say, now go. And then the rules are the same. You still take turns. It goes 2 rounds. You use your skills, whatever, all the tests, like all that is the same. But the difference is now the players know what they're looking at up front, and they can make tactical choices based on which objectives they want to secure before time runs out. So for my first montage challenge, I hadn't been able to try it yet, so I wanted to design one and see how it feels. I made one. The prompt was thriller, and I was going to do zombies, but then I was like, that's too obvious. So I did a montage challenge instead where you are infiltrating a gala to like learn about some villain you're fighting who's hosting the gala. So for example, I won't go through the whole list, but for example, there's like hounded by petty scandal is one of the threats. The consequence is if you don't resolve that, if someone doesn't take a turn to clear that threat, then everyone in the party gets a penalty to renown among anyone who is at the gala. Just permanently, forever, because you did something stupid and now they're all laughing at you in high society.
I like that.
Whereas, and then an opportunity is like sow rumors. Nothing happens if you don't do it, but if you do tackle it and successfully resolve it, then you remove a minion squad from the next combat you're going to have with the villain who's hosting the gala. And so you set these things, and it creates stakes, it creates tension, it creates choices. It's really cool and fun. So that one was a popular one. I started making these terrain stat blocks, which are kind of like a mix of dynamic terrain and villain actions. I wanted something that you could put in that represents not just like an object, but the entire battlefield. So I made a couple of those. Like one of them, the simplest one is like a ruined castle that like the walls are crumbling, and on round 3, a bell falls and deals sonic damage to everyone. People really like those. I made, let's see. I made a couple level treasures I was really proud of. There's a sword from a woad that you have to craft with wood from a tree that gets planted in the future. I love those.
That's really cool.
Crazy little elements of Draw Steel's lore. And then I made a level treasure that was a Mothman themed like foresight item that Colville retweeted as well.
Yeah, we
and then the one, yeah.
No, go ahead.
The one that was the most popular, that multiple people said this is the best one you've done all month, was the second to last one. I made a solo that was an animated. A scarecrow who had been animated by like bloodshed and war around their field, and is now walking around with a giant scythe trying to reap unlucky heroes.
That's pretty cool.
That was a lot of people's favorite for the month. Yeah,
I have to say,
something I liked about.
Go ahead, Jacob.
You go, Will. You can go.
Okay, I was gonna say we do love Mothman on this podcast. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if people are aware, but Jacob and I both are sort of kind of from West Virginia.
I should have. I don't have it as one of my prompts. I should have put it as one of my prompts. I'm also, so I mean, I do all this design work, but primarily I'm a writer, and I am currently in the middle of writing an Appalachian folk horror supernatural mystery novel, which Mothman does not feature in, but is referenced multiple times.
Nice.
Because of course he is.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, I'm right across the mountains from y'all, and I am very Mothman, a big Mothman fan.
Yeah.
Well, if you need any beta readers, feel free to reach out.
Yeah, you guys will get it, absolutely.
I will say something I love about like your sort of Promptober works is it feels like every time I looked at one, I was like, oh, that's such a smart way to do it, and now like it sort of inspired me to do something similar, right? Like I remember seeing the Ruined Keep and like how you did sort of the making like a stat block almost for the location itself, like a dynamic terrain object for the location. I thought it was really really cool.
Yeah,
So
that is a,
definitely a lot of really cool work here.
that is a really good
Thank
idea.
you.
I was looking at the Infiltrate the Gala before you started talking about it, and something I love about it, and I love this in tactical games because I don't know, I'm a weird little goober. Uh, I love that I saw an option on here that I immediately thought that's probably not the option I should go for, but it's definitely like what 90% of my characters would do. Like I see lose a duel on here and I'm like if I'm playing a martial focused character, I don't care what bad thing I'm avoiding. I'm doing that cuz I'm not losing that duel. Like
Right.
that's
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
immediately like I don't care if it makes tactical sense. I don't care if there's better things I can do with my turn. I don't want to lose that duel.
There's so much of that in Draw Steel where people complain, or not necessarily complain, but like new players are kind of like put off. They think it's just a combat game, it doesn't have all this character stuff, but like the game has more rules for out of combat stuff than most other games of its ilk. And everything it does have is equipped to be cinematic, like narrative beats, like not just like role play, like any game you can role play, but Draw Steel is like, no, you're an action hero. You have like presence and narrative weight, and the things you do matter.
Yeah.
There was a Tamwin who you had on last week, or last episode. I am playing in a accelerated campaign that Tamwin is running in order to test some homebrew in the homebrew server, and we did a montage challenge. And he's basically, we all made characters, and he's been having a lot of fun. Like, we're doing just like one narrative scene and one combat encounter per session, and then skipping several levels. But he's been having a lot of fun theming them around each of our characters anyway, even though it's like an accelerated thing. So I played this gunslinger whose daughter had been kidnapped, and for our 4th or 6th level adventure, he put a montage challenge where one of the threats of the montage, the main one, was a hard test. You will lose your daughter's soul to these devils playing poker. And so even though I didn't have a good skill or anything to use for that, but I was like, this has to be me, right? So someone, no one else can do this. Someone, you can assist me if you want, and please do, because I have no useful skills, but that's me.
That's really cool.
So yeah, really fun opportunities for character moments embedded in these as well.
Totally. I've been chomping at the bit to play the Gunslinger. How is it in play?
Tamwin's Gunslinger is great. We're doing this accelerated campaign to like iron out some of the harder edges, of course. All of us in the call have gone back and forth over a couple of the core design things. But like, for the most part, like 90% of it, and actually 100% of it is like good. Like nothing in it is bad, both in terms of design and like balance. Tamwin is a very premier homebrewer. He knows the balance of the game really well. Everything seems pretty fun and balanced. There's a couple things that we're back and forth, like, is this really necessary? Like, what are you trying to achieve here? Blah, blah, blah. But it's a really great class, really, really flavorful, super fun abilities to use. And not just the like combat abilities, but the out of combat features he's designed as well. I really enjoy. I'm playing a sheriff, and so one of my early features I get is I forget exactly what it's called, but it's like, the way I see it happen was, and I get to like once per event, when you come across the aftermath of something, you describe what you think happened, and then the director tells you, this is one thing you got right, or this is one thing you got wrong, which is such a fun, like it's very Powered by the Apocalypse style ability that is just seamlessly ported into Draw Steel, which I love.
It's really cool.
When we had Tamwin on, I told him how much I love that specific ability.
Yeah. That's great.
It's so cool. And I definitely agree with you that I think Draw Steel has really good support for non-combat gameplay. Especially like I love the downtime stuff.
Yeah.
Is there any downtime action you really like in particular, Jacob?
Well, so I was in Will's game, and we did a fishing downtime, and that led to one of the characters becoming head of a knightly order. So
yeah,
I think
they're torturing me with fishing. They know I've made very clear that I don't think the fishing mechanics are bad. I just don't think fishing as a downtime action fits with my conception of heroic fantasy. And of course, one of my players was like, "No, I really want to go fishing." And I was like, "You can just go fishing there." And I was like, "Okay, but if you want to do that as your downtime action, we're gonna give the rules a try because I'm not I'm not just gonna throw them out without using them." And I do feel vindicated. I did hate that. I like what happened. I hate that it came from fishing.
No, it's great. It's hilarious. And I mean, your experience tracks with apparently the devs of the game. I think it was Willie, who apparently just said like this was on like a Delian Tomb video or something, or one of the intros where James Introcaso was like, when Willie, when you Willie was like, when I asked to put fishing in the game, and James was like, no, you didn't ask. You came out to me, was like, hey, we're putting fishing in the game, and then now there is.
Yeah, I won't expound on my feelings on fishing. I've done it on the. I don't remember if it was in the episode with Tamwin or not, but I've talked about fishing before.
I'm very happy that I feel represented in the. Sorry, I feel very represented in the Drawstill dev team. Let's just say that.
I'd have less strong feelings if my players weren't intentionally torturing me with the fishing mechanics.
Yeah, it seems like there's a bit of a lopsided problem. I don't know. Maybe you should try some fishing yourself.
I'm saying I just
players. He means me.
I just need to get good. Is that what we're saying?
I think you just need to relax. Like maybe you go out to the lake, bring your kit, canoe, and just see how it goes.
And fish up an ancient artifact. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm gonna keep saying this until everyone in real life thinks Will hates fishing. It
hates actual real.
That's the end goal.
That's which is funny because I've gone fishing before. I don't hate it. I mean, it doesn't rate highly on my list of activities to do, but I'm perfectly fine with fishing in real life. Oh.
So I think we should maybe get into the icebreakers.
Yes, which I did check, and we did generally do icebreakers before system.
Yeah,
so
we'll be swapping.
Yeah, I'll have to remember to reach out.
That's no big deal.
Yeah, that's not a big problem.
In that case, yeah, Will, what are we doing differently this week than we usually do?
Yeah, so to hopefully cut down a little bit on time with guests during the icebreaker portion, we are going to have either myself or Jacob give an icebreaker for Psychogenic Press, and then the guest will give an icebreaker, and then next time we have a guest, we'll switch which member of Psychogenic Press gives the icebreaker. So we're going to start off with Jacob, and next time we have a guest on, we do icebreakers, I'll be the one to give an icebreaker, and we're hoping that'll allow us to cut a little bit down on time while still keeping the fun of the icebreakers.
Good plan.
Awesome. So my question to everyone here. So you join a game, okay? And the GM tells you could play any character, but they must be an already existing fictional character. Who are you playing?
Ooh.
I know my answer immediately.
Okay, yeah, go for it then.
A character that I have been aching to play. I mean, there's a lot of answers I could give, but the character that I have been aching to play for a long, long time, which I've successfully recreated through various ways, in various systems to greater or lesser effect. But so it wouldn't be a hard jump for me, is Nahiri from Magic the Gathering. I'm not currently regularly into Magic or anything. I follow the spoilers. But for a period like 2015-ish to 2020, I played pretty regularly. And I really, really, really loved the storytelling around Nahiri. If you don't know, Nahiri is a planeswalker from the Magic the Gathering multiverse. She is a lithomancer from the plane of Zendikar. And the short version of the story is she just got like her story kind of entangles with a couple different things I just love. One of which is I like the Zendikar as a plane. I like the adventure theme and the crazy landscape that's fighting you and the ancient sky dungeons and stuff. And then she's also tangled up with the Eldrazi, which were stored on Zendikar, trapped on Zendikar.
Oh,
And her a reveal came out when they did. I don't remember exactly which set it was attached to because it might have been the one before, or the one after. But when the Eldrazi came back and got unleashed, and Emrakul was nowhere around, and then Emrakul went to Innistrad and screwed up Innistrad. Um, we knew in the lore, we knew that thousands and thousands of years ago, Nahiri, Sorin, and a dragon named Ugin. Sorin's a vampire, and a dragon named Ugin or Eugene. They had locked the Eldrazi away, and they made a pact that if anything ever happened, they would all come back and fix it. And then Nahiri is the one on Zendikar sleeping for thousands of years, like in stasis, basically, just to watch over the Eldrazi. And then they start breaking out, and she calls, and no one comes. So she goes looking for them, and Ugin's dead, and she can't find Sorin, and things go poorly, and eventually the Eldrazi break out, and that's how we got here, right? And that's about as much as we knew. And what we discovered in Shadows over Innistrad was that Nahiri, I'm just like giving a lore dump now. This is a complete tangent, but it's important. It's important. It's why I'm interested. Nahiri had gone to Sorin, found him in Innistrad, asked him for help, and and she was like, "Why didn't you answer my call?" And he was like, "Oh, I didn't hear your call because I just put up like magical signal blockers around my plane to protect it from things happening." And she's like, "That's a breach of promise. The Eldrazi are a bigger threat than whatever you're worried about." And he's like, "Yeah, but I also made my cool angel daughter who is going to protect the plane, and that took a lot out of me, so I just really didn't want to get out of bed." And here he's like, you threatened to sacrifice my entire plane, you selfish bastard, and the whole multiverse. And he's like, "Yes, and I'm not sorry." And then he locked her in a vault for 5,000 years. And it's sort of the like trope, or even a cliche, really, not just a trope, but like that thing of, poor communication leading to a conflict. But something about the way it was told worked for me. The characters felt like they were being real. They weren't just like failing to say something. It was their personalities that were actually clashing. And then Hiri gets out later, when the Hell Vault is broken, and she goes back to Zendikar. She finds that it has been ravaged by the Eldrazi. She gets really mad, and she says, "Okay, I'm going to go back to Innistrad, and I'm going to do to Innistrad what Sorin effectively did to my plane." And she brings Emrakul over, and that's how we get Shadows over Innistrad, which I just really like the story of that set in general because I like Eldritch Horror. And then some other stuff happens, and there's more sets and things. But basically, the thing is, I just find Nahiri to be this really, like, she's not a good person. I mean, she killed a lot of innocent people for, petty revenge, basically. But I find her to be a really compelling character and a compelling villain. And hopefully someday a redeemed villain. And last I heard, she lost her spark after the Phyrexian invasion, and now she's just stuck on Zendikar, and she's be pouting about it. So I don't know what's going on with her now, but I just really enjoyed her story. I really enjoyed the move from the naive young mage trying to protect her home plane into this eldritch villain, channeling monsters. And I also really just like her visual design, the way she does magic. She's a lithomancer, so she controls rocks, but the way that she fights is she summons molten swords out of the ground because she's superheating them to pull the stone out, and fights with those. She's got kind of that ley line vibe. I love ley lines in fantasy in general. So she's obviously working with that because she is a mage of the earth. So anyway, long story short, I want to play Nahiri. I tried to make her in 5th edition. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I tried to make her in Pathfinder. I couldn't really. Kineticus was cool, but not quite there.
Which
I tried to make her in Draw Steel, and
sorry,
2nd edition.
You should try 1E with the 3.5 compatibility, just because 3.5 has so much stuff. I bet you could find something from 3.5 that would let you do it.
Yeah, I bet I'm a bit more of a gauge, but the thing that lacks there is the actual spells and abilities to do other cool Earth things, which at least the more modern games have. I guess I could probably the Elemental. I have an Elemental book on my shelf I could find. And I tried to Draw Steel, but Draw Steel doesn't like gishes very much at the moment. The only RPG I've ever been able to successfully play my Nahiri ripoff is a game I really like called Enclave, where there are no dice and very light character building. So, and they have a Lithomancer class, so it's a perfect fit. But anyway, yeah, I'd play Nahiri. I want to play in a Magic game. Like I want to play a Magic multiverse setting where you're going around different planes and stuff, and I want to play Nahiri.
I was gonna say, I know that whole thing was kind of a pitch for Nahiri, but I kind of like the sound of the Soren guy. He
That
seems
sounds
like
cool.
he seems like exactly my kind of asshole. Like, yeah, yeah, I'm protecting
Soren's
my plane and letting your plane go to shit. What about it? Not my problem.
You, you play Soren, I play Neri, and I'll play the Dead God. That's
you can play Eugene. The
Woohoo!
dragon. Yeah, Soren's cool. I mean, I don't dislike him. He is also a pretty compelling character, I think. As far as MTG characters go, who are not like usually that complex. He's a vampire. So you can play one. With Triglav Games Vampire class
you're
coming
right.
out soon.
I really,
nice plug.
I have kind of tangentially related. I have run into the problem in Draw Steel that it doesn't seem well built for gishes before. Because I did have a similar a kind of a gish character idea that just like a background NPC in my world, and it was so I talked to Tamlin last time, and I was like, hey, what's the best way to make like a psionic knight? And I think the best way is to take like a the oh god, I'm gonna call them battle master. It's not battle tactician. Is to take tactician, and then there's like a kit for psionics. So I
Yeah.
combine that with one of the more knightly ones, and I'm like, okay, that kind of works, but it gives them like one psionic thing they can do, and that's not. I want a little more like 50-50 on my psionic knight. Personally.
It's not. It's something that might be coming down the line. Like they've talked about a little bit about it being possible, but the core game. And the thing is, it's harder. The real thing is there are Gish classes in the game already. Not a psionic one, unfortunately, but like because the game doesn't separate out martial and magic in any way, like a sensor is a Gish, a shadow is a Gish, a tactician with the right kits can be a Gish. So it's possible, but for some reason those aren't hitting the fantasies everyone wants. I think Black Ash Shadow with like a big beefy kit is one of the coolest gishes I've ever seen in an RPG, because you're basically just a blink knight, like constantly teleporting around and smashing people with a giant sword. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I know Tamlin said that like Black Ash Shadow with like I can't remember if it was the Mountain kit or one of those other like big kits. And
Yeah, Mountain is the classic.
yeah, and Tamlin was like, yeah, I've played that a lot, and there are so many times where I've just like been able to get out of shit that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to get out of, like so much survivability. And I was like, huh, that's cool. That's a fun idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, sadly, the only psionic martial is more of a monk analog.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure we'll get a psionic kind of more traditional martial character
Like a
either
Jedi.
in the homebrew or
Yeah.
MCDM. Yeah.
I guess a quick question, Jacob, which I think you was kind of already hit on with talking about difficulties with adapting Nahiri. Should we assume in this prompt that the system is such that we can faithfully adapt whatever character? That this is some mythical
Yes.
system that will okay, because I feel like that changes my answer a lot. Because like if you know I'm stuck with like 5e or something, there are a lot of characters I just wouldn't even try to adapt because they're just 5e's just not built for them, and it would be hard.
No,
I think
imagine the ideal system.
yeah, I think my classic, my favorite classic example is like trying to build Wolverine in 5e. I mean, you can kind of maybe do it, but the game's just not designed for players to be like healing that way. Do you have an answer for this one, Jacob? Because I'm really struggling. There are a lot of
I
characters I
do.
like from media, and I'm having trouble. Do you wanna go ahead while I
Yeah.
try to think?
So recently, I've never really been a big comics person, but I've really recently started getting into them. And one of the comics which I've kind of started reading a little bit is John Constantine.
Ooh, okay.
And that's just a cool character I want to play. Like the sort of the noir, sort of hard-boiled, occult-like detective sort of vibe. Like the demonic deals and such. That's rad. I love that. And really hope, they talked about it in the past, having a John Constantine class in Draw Steel. and I really want that.
I would love to see their take on that for sure.
Yeah. They talked also about having like an Elric sort of like multiple like deals like character, and I think those like it can merge. I think that would work well as like subclasses for the same class, of like the Elric versus the John Constantine. So, but I'm excited. Also excited for the Acolyte too, which is really cool. But no, John Constantine would be my answer.
Damn, that was much more succinct than my answer.
To be fair,
I would give a whole lorddom, but I really don't know much about the charter. I've only read a few of his comics.
Just cool.
He's just a cool dude.
Yeah.
also,
he's just a cool dude.
Constantine probably has maybe this is showing my bias in the media I watch, but at least in my view, Constantine probably has a lot more what's the word I'm looking for? Exposure.
Representation.
Yeah,
sure, exposure.
Than Nahiri.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Because like
all of that.
I'd heard.
All of that lore was definitely necessary to understand why I wanted it. 100%.
That's fair. Because like I'd heard of Nahiri. Of course, I played Magic a little bit. I never got big into it. I knew nothing about Nahiri because I never cared too much for Magic's lore. Like personally, when I was playing, I was just like, okay, it is what it is. So like, I would use funny cards. Also, I totally forgot during your whole thing talking about the Eldrazi. I can't ever like the Eldrazi because one of my friends has a really annoying Eldrazi commander deck that he loves to play,
Yeah.
and it every time he plays it, I want to strangle him. Man, I'm really struggling with this question, which is weird because there are a lot of characters I like, but I feel like a lot of the characters I like don't translate well to tabletop games, and not just necessarily like there aren't good systems for them. I just don't think they'd be any fun to play in a tabletop game. Like I'm
Mhm.
There's a
thinking
big
of like
difference between characters like that would be.
yeah, because like
Tabletop.
I'm just thinking about like so many characters I really like from fiction, and I'm just like I don't know what I would do with this character in a tabletop game, because I feel like if I want to play, for me, if I want to play a character in a tabletop game, there needs to be somewhere for me to go with the character.
Yeah.
And
I
a
agree.
lot of the characters I really like are from self-contained works that are basically complete, and I don't really feel like there's anywhere interesting for me to go with the character. I've also forgotten all of my favorite pieces of media, of course.
Yeah, classic.
What's a good?
I think it's a valid answer. I'm not like just being like, hey, I like characters that like have not had their story told, right? I think it's a valid reason why
Yeah.
you wouldn't want that.
I'm just trying to think of a good one that I like and fit, because like right now all I can think of is the narrator from The Great Gatsby, and I'm like I don't think I would ever play him in a campaign. Um,
You want to play Nick Carraway?
he doesn't do anything. He's super passive.
He doesn't do anything.
Yeah. So I'm like he doesn't fit. And then I'm thinking of like
I mean,
God, what is his name from Catcher in the Rye?
Holden.
Yeah, who's also
Uh,
like just kind of bumbles around and doesn't do anything. Also, I always feel weird
Amazing pulls.
telling people that Catcher in the Rye is one of my favorite books just because of the connotations with how many. I don't know if you all are aware of this, but a disturbing number of assassins have been found with Catcher in the Rye on their person. So
I didn't know that.
I always have to be like, I like Catcher in the Rye. I'm not weird. I promise I'm not weird.
I have to
I-
do similar with my obsession with Norse mythology, because it has also been co-opted by some unfortunate
yes.
corners of society.
Yeah, that's true. Gosh, what's
I will say also, Will, your profession doesn't make your case any better.
yes, my
the-
profession as a U.S. postal worker.
Yeah, going
pretty
postal is kind of a.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, they're still. Oh man. Oh man. What's a character?
You said Wolverine. That's a pretty good Fury, right?
Yeah, but I don't think I really want to play Wolverine all that much. It's just my classic example
That's
to
true.
go to for like a character that doesn't necessarily fit a system. And
yeah, a character you actually want to play. Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
I mean, just say Colton Caulfield. Figure that out.
No.
This is the ideal system where that's a character you can play and it would be fun.
See,
Play a troubadour and just like your character's just like narrating the events after the adventure.
Oh my God, Nick Carraway is an auteur troubadour. That's hilarious.
I don't think that Colden Caulfield or Nick Carraway would be unfun because of system. I just don't think there's anything interesting or fun I could do with their characters. They're too passive as characters.
You wouldn't write your fanfic, your fanfic for the book?
There's got to be some character I've thought about playing. I'm certain of it. It must have happened. Oh.
Also on my list is Evelyn Wong from Everything Everywhere All at Once. I really want to. I have a multiversal psionic shadow subclass that I'm working on.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
inspired by that and Spider-Verse, where you're like pulling versions of yourself. I want to play the Sun from Sunless Seas, and I want to play. I forget her name, but the female lead from Your Name, Kimi no Na wa, which is an anime movie that I love.
Your Name is good.
Your Name is really good. Spider-Man, thank you.
There you go. Yeah.
Because I actually have kind of tried to play Spider-Man in masks before.
Oh, I love masks too. You guys have good.
Yeah, because there's a whole thank you. There's a whole archetype that is essentially playing that character who is, stuck between the mask and the normal world. And I built a friend of mine and I, we had this really fun back and forth where she would run the present of the game. Wait, what? No. Am I getting that backwards? Sorry, other way around. I would run the present of this masks game where these heroes were doing things, and she would run the past, like the prologues that were happening. So I got to play during those prologues this character who I had already basically designed, who is a villain in the future, but is like a part of their team in the past. And it was super fun. So I think I'd love to take another crack at Spider-Man with a system that lets me 100% build a Spider-Man.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
I feel like Spider-Man's a really hard fantasy to capture. I'd feel like, at least.
I think it's definitely a tricky one, but this is our ideal game where it's perfectly possible.
Yeah,
so.
Definitely.
All right. Well, I think
that was my icebreaker question.
Yeah, Jonas, do you have a nice icebreaker for us?
Oh my God, I forgot that I still have to do mine. Yeah. All right. So I'm just because I am too extra, and I was working on some design stuff this morning. I was actually I don't know if it happened when I uploaded my computer or if I saved over a file or something, but something happened and I lost all of my Promptober content. So I have all the images and stuff, but I don't have any of the edits I had made in the document that I was working on, because I do all my own layout and stuff like that. So I was working today on redoing all of that and putting into a new nice layout. And because I was doing that and I was in the middle of it and I was feeling a little extra, I decided to make an ability for my icebreaker. So do either of you have dice on you? If not, I have some.
I have dice within easy reach. Okay, yeah, you have one, Jacob.
You got 2d10? Roll me a power roll, please.
Okay, let me 2d10. This is fun.
I specifically keep a jug of dice in my living room for these purposes.
A 9 and a 7, so 16.
Ooh. And what do you think? There's a power roll plus presence. So what do you think your presence score is?
0.
0? No, come on. You're at least 1. You're hosting a podcast. That's a 2
3. Doesn't mean it's a good podcast. I don't. Okay.
Although we maybe should. You know what? I'm going to invoke the optional. Actually, not optional. I'm going to invoke the rule to willingly downgrade a power roll, because the tier 3 result I wrote here is: what character concept have you always wanted to play but never found the right group or campaign for? Which is a little different, because I was talking about
group compatibility, but
something you've come up with, but it still feels like maybe same ground. So unless you guys really want to talk about that, I'm going to downgrade to our tier 2 result here. Which is, what is the best or most exciting single die roll you have ever made at the table?
That's good.
Ooh.
and I can kick us off while you guys think about that because I know mine off the top. Back in 3.5, my friend ran a campaign that was focused on fighting an army of demons, and I played like an elf druid ranger hybrid thing with some like alternate class features. But midway through the campaign, the character wasn't really working out. She wasn't really meshing with the group, so I decided to swap her out. And I brought in this replacement character who was a teenage paladin who was, I think, like 14 years old, and or just like a young teenager, like not of age yet. She was a like noble bastard. She was like the daughter of like a noble and a maid in the noble's house, and demons, the demons that we were fighting, killed her whole family. Now she didn't care about most of the family because she was being treated very poorly, but her mom was among them, and so she grabbed the family's like heirloom sword off the mantle, and ran. And it turned out that the founder of the family was had like their consciousness was in the sword as like a sentient item. So the sword, I had a weapon of legacy from that source book, which I love that source book a lot. There is a very similar campaign for Draw Steel that just concluded, I think, or is maybe about to conclude. So this sentient paladin's sword taught her how to be a paladin. And so it was this very like, hero's journey, Luke Skywalker-y kind of like, yeah, you're just a kid, but you have to take up this powerful ancestral weapon and fight the demon hordes because you're the only one who can. So eventually we came upon, so I played this paladin and I built her to kill demons as quickly as possible. Because this was back in 3.5, I had like 4 or 5 different prestige classes. I had swapped out a bunch of alternate class features that made my smites better and made me better at detecting outsiders and stuff like that. The character sheet's around here somewhere. And I poured everything I could into smiting demons. Not just to min-max. Like, I wanted to be an effective character, but I was like, this is what this character has been trained to do, right? And eventually we're defending our like home city from an army of demons, and the army is being led, or at least like heralded, by this succubus who we had met early in the campaign. She had been like taunting us and messing with us the whole time. She'd actually charmed my old character, and she was the one who I don't know if she ate my character's mom or just was like there at the attack, but I knew her, right? So we're on the wall. We're defending. The army is on its way. The succubus is floating like 30 feet away from the wall. We have a cleric friend cast Windwalk on us. We're talking to the succubus, and I was like, I charge, right? I'm like, I'm done listening to you. I charge the succubus. My hands were shaking with nerves. I was adding up all the bonuses because this was 3.5 smite. So smite added to attack, and then I think a little bonus damage, but it was mostly adding to attack. So I was like counting every bonus on my sheet over and over. I lost count 2 or 3 times. My hands were shaking, but I kept adding everything up and kept adding everything up. And I kept losing count. And eventually the DM was like, okay, listen, just if you don't roll a 1, you hit. And I rolled a 2. And it was the most exciting 2 I've ever rolled in my life. I've never been happier to roll a 2 before. I charged her and I smote her in the face, and we kicked her ass. It was great. And that character remains one of my favorite characters I've ever played. The DM did an amazing job of giving me stuff to work with in that game. But I will never forget that die tumbling across the table and landing on it too. Ugh.
It's really good.
That is good.
I've got one. If you're not ready, Jacob. No, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say. So I was in a. So I am in my 1 to 20 D&D campaign I was in. I was playing a rogue, right? And this is sort of towards the end of the campaign. We were like a level 18, 19. For context, it was like a 5-year campaign. And we were in a town that was getting sort of almost like people were being sort of attacked at night and sort of taken. And my character was alone at one point. And then suddenly this sort of spider creature appeared. It was super powerful because at this point our GM let's just say I think they really didn't look at balancing off much. So the creature that we fought had like a plus like 20 something to hit, poisons that with insane DCs. It was kind of crazy, right? So I think what they expected was me to die or not die, or go unconscious at least very quickly. This isn't a single roll, but it's sort of a series of rolls. But during that fight, I was able to basically hold my ground against this thing alone as a rogue, and I kept rolling really well, increasingly good against this basically this creature that kept doing like 50 damage in one hit. It was kind of insane. And just like being able to I didn't kill it, but I was able to hold it off long enough for allies to come. So it was kind of, I don't know, just that moment where like I was able to like basically hold my own against this like creature that was basically, it wasn't balanced. It was like it had the worst balancing ever of like this like creature that could, like basically it was one of those like almost like parody creatures you'd see on like D&D Beyond or something, where it's like insane.
Yeah.
But I managed to hold my own until people came and they managed to charm it. So it was a really cool scenario where it just kept rolling really, really well against this sort of like opposing threat. So I guess that's my story.
That's great.
That's
a
really good one.
Yeah.
So my story comes from a second edition AD&D campaign I played in, which I think I've gone on record before saying was probably one of my favorite campaigns I've ever played in. And is definitely the reason that second edition AD&D is my favorite edition of D&D, and also probably the reason why I never play that edition of D&D. But
right.
So we were going through, probably would have been, I don't know if we were doing an updated version of the original Temple of Elemental Evil, or if it would have been returned to the Temple of Elemental Evil. But we were running through Temple of Elemental Evil. It must have been an updated of the original Temple of Elemental Evil, because Return's a third edition module. So yeah, we were running through the Temple of Elemental Evil, and we're pretty far down in it. I'm playing a 10th level wizard. Our party's all 9, 10, 11th level, depending on class. And we come into this big room, and they're a dozen giants and ogres and all these other things. We're coming into this room, and we know there's something ahead. So I turn to the DM and I'm like, okay, I'm going to cast Minor Globe of Invulnerability, because it is such a good spell. For those not familiar with it, it just makes you immune to third level and lower spells. It's like a fourth level spell, and no third level spell can pass from outside the globe into it. So it just it makes you immune to Fireball and Lightning Bolt and all these Magic Missile, all these classic damaging spells. A bunch of crowd control spells just don't work on you. So it's really solid. And I mean, at the level we're at, we're gonna run into things that are throwing spells that'll get through it, but it's just super, super solid. Now, I had forgotten as a player that Minor Globe of Invulnerability is a static globe. And this, the dice, I don't think this was the right DM decision from the person running. If I was running it, I would have said, you're a 10th level wizard with a 17 intelligence. Your character knows how these spells work, even if you've forgotten that. You know that you shouldn't cast it yet. You should wait. But they had me make an intelligence roll, and I made it. And the reason it's impactful, it's kind of a boring roll. So we go in there, we're fighting them. Things are going kind of okay. I'm standing near the back in my globe of invulnerability, chucking fireballs and other things into this group. We had a necromancer in the party who had made a custom version of the skull trap spell. So the skull trap spell lets you trap a skull so that it's necromantic, and when it is broken, it explodes and does not a lot, but a little bit of damage. They had made a bunch of skeletal rats that were skull trapped, so that when you killed the rat, it exploded. Now, they're really good. Normally, how we used them is we would kind of stay back, we would deploy these rats, they would go forward, and we would try to mire the enemy in them such that the enemy would eventually, not all the rats were skull trapped, it was 1 in 4 or something. Eventually the enemy would hit one of these rats, and it would cause a chain reaction detonation, and it would kill a bunch of the enemies, and it was really good. We got really unlucky that we didn't get a chance to get the rats far enough out before one of the ogres stepped on one of these skull trap rats. So in the middle of the party, these things explode.
Ooh.
Skull trap is like a first or second level spell. So I'm standing there in my globe of invulnerability, and I just watch everything around me explode. Everyone else in the party except for the paladin is down, and I'm completely untouched because I'm immune to spells of 3rd level and lower. And I was like, because it would have just flat out killed me. I could not take the damage that it was putting out. And so I looked around and I said, I leave. I was like, nope. I turn around and I run because we're going to lose this. And yeah, so it feels weird because I don't think it should have been a die roll at all, but it was a very impactful die roll.
Yeah, that is absolutely incredible. Those are my favorite moments in tabletop games in general, when just like a little moment circles back around and some crazy interaction you weren't expecting happens. Oh, that's a great story. I love that story.
Yeah, it's up there on my favorite stories from that second ed campaign, along with the leader of our party being a dwarf called Big Man Littlefoot, who had a very high wisdom stat and a not so high intelligence stat, and had been told at one point as a young dwarf, working as an acolyte in the temples, that he should always follow the right path in life, as in the correct path, the good and righteous path. But being not the sharpest of mind, Big Man Littlefoot took that to mean that it was Moradin's prescription that he should always turn right when given the option.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Which led to probably the most thorough mapping of a dungeon I have ever been a part of, in which we would come to a turn and Big Man Littlefoot would say, we're going right, and the rest of the party was left with the option, do we let the cleric go right and the rest of us go another direction, or do we just go along with his insanity and always turn right? And it turns out you kind of need some healing, so we always went right.
We have my group has a similar running thing where it's the first we did some kind of maze or labyrinth together or a dungeon crawl, and we were like, we just hugged the left wall, and now across game systems, across parties, it's always, anytime there's an option, always just left.
Yeah. Fun fact about the maze and labyrinth thing, that it only works for specific construction of a maze. Yeah. Because if they have if they have islands in them, yeah, it doesn't work. All right. Well,
great. Those were both great stories.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed those. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. I guess
I believe all that's left.
Yeah, probably time for prompts, right? Maybe?
Yeah.
Wow, amazing.
So I think what we had happen. I believe how we did this before is we have the guest roll a d6. Do you have a d6 on you?
Oh, I have a d10 that I can just roll until I get something lower than 7.
Well, either way, one.
D10 works, right? Because we're just doing half and half,
does,
right?
Yeah.
If I just ignore. Oh.
Yeah, it's just half, yeah. Because if it's 1 through 5, it's me, you get mine. Yeah. And if it's 6 through 10, you get Will's, basically. I don't know why it's a d6.
Got it.
Any dice. As long as it's not...
Any even number die will work. And odd number dice will work as well if you're willing to ignore some numbers.
Yeah. I've got my dice that I got from the jam, so let's give this a try.
That's great.
That's a 2.
That's a 2, so you get my prompt.
Exciting.
Okay. So I guess I should start.
Yeah, go for it.
Your prompt, Jonas, is Sin Eater.
Ooh. Giving me some Geist vibes from Chronicles there. Or was that the end of World of Darkness? I don't remember.
Yeah, Sin Eaters are in there. Yeah, Sin Eaters.
I just couldn't remember which, if they were Chronicles or World of Darkness.
Oh yeah, I don't remember. I get them all confused all the time. When I ran Vampire, I mixed them because I was like, I like the changelings from
That's
Chronicles
fair. Oh
more.
yeah, I do too.
The idea of
Yeah.
Sin Eaters is really cool in my opinion. I originally first experienced it through actually Matt Covell's novels,
Mm-hmm.
because his main character is a Sin Eater for the church.
Yeah. Hayden. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. You know what I think. This is gonna sound like a negative, but I actually truly mean it as a positive. Nothing immediately comes to mind, and I think that is a cool. My one of my frequent writing partners and I, my friend, we have a common refrain when we're writing together, which is like, "What's the second most obvious thing?" So if nothing immediately jumps to mind, I know I'm not gonna do like, "Oh yeah, that's obviously what it should be."
Yes.
So I'm gonna have to actually think about it, and I'm
Yeah,
really
it could be
excited to do that.
anything. It could be a subclass. It could be some magic items. It could be a thing, a
Ooh, a subclass.
complication. It could be a full class if you wanna do like a first level of it. Like feel free, but
Not doing that. I'm not doing that. Or maybe a first level, but probably
Yeah,
probably
no.
not. Maybe a subclass. Subclass is cool.
we have no one yet attempts to make a full class yet. So you'd be a first.
Oh well, don't dare me. Now I gotta try it. Damn. Do I get to know what the other prompt could have been, or will you save that for future?
Will's
Well,
gonna give me that prompt.
Yeah, I'll give it to.
Oh, you
Jacob,
get the
yeah.
right. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I forgot.
Well, do you wanna go next, or do you want me to go next?
If we're going
I have another power roll for mine,
Okay,
so it
here,
depends on if you have you have to roll for it this time.
Let me grab dice.
I love your power rolls just for everything. That's great. Amazing.
I just decided to be extra. I mean, it's how I am.
All right, got my dice with me. Let me dig out some d10s. I've got I have far too many dice actually here. That's Oh no, I think I've done something very silly in that I think the dice I have set out when I was running an in-person Vampire the Masquerade game, I took all of the d10s out for people to use. So
the one dice you need.
there's literally no d10s
so
in
funny.
here. Okay. I
That's so
can
funny.
make this work. I can roll 2d20 and
2d20s,
11
yeah,
through
yeah.
20 is just 1 through 10 again.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
the one die I need, I've hidden somewhere. Okay.
Yeah, but for a good cause. So
That is a 10.
a 10. Okay. This is a power roll plus reason. So what do you think your reason score is?
I don't know. I'll give myself a +1. I don't think that changes the power roll any.
You guys are too self-deprecating. First level heroes start with a +2 in their main stats.
Yeah, but I'm not a hero. I'm not a
Come
hero.
on.
I'm a mail sorter.
Come on.
Okay, fine. 2.
Yay, you get the prompt.
You bullied me into it.
Okay, this is a little similar to one of the prompts you've had before, but just a little more broad. I am giving you cosmic/eldritch horror because it's probably my favorite genre of fiction. I am working on some cosmic/eldritch horror stuff for Draw Steel, and I want you to give me ideas that I can steal from.
Perfect.
So
Ooh,
there you go.
Okay, that's interesting. I feel like
It's a bit of a challenge. You know, it's not Draw Steel isn't necessarily designed for horror. It's not good at disempowerment.
Right, that's what I was gonna say.
So,
Heroic fantasy, I think, meshes poorly with cosmic/eldritch horror, just based on the. So yeah, it's
on the
it's
face
gonna be
of it,
interesting.
I think on the face of it, you're absolutely right, and that's why you got to dig down and find a way to do it.
This is cozy fantasy all over again. How does this keep happening to me? Oh, I'm really excited for that actually. Much like your Sin Eater one, I don't know what I'm going to do right off the bat.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, I mean, the obvious answer is to do something like Lovecraft, but I'm just not particularly interested in doing that. So I'm gonna have to
Yeah, stretch
gonna
it.
have to dig deeper, find
love
something else.
These are
Oh.
amazing. I just saw the things you posted in chat. The break the ice
Yeah,
signature.
like I said,
Oh, I have
yeah.
not looked at the things in chat.
That's
In
amazing.
chat?
Like I said, I was because I was just already working on the format for Promptober stuff, so I did literally stat these up as ability blocks. I have too much free time.
Oh.
I will say my favorite moment, reading the second one. Whenever I was talking to Will about like in a past episode, I was like, as we all as like talking about how Scythian runs years in the sun, and then Will was like, I didn't know that. Like basically, it was very funny.
What's that? Huh? Sorry, I'm.
How I think I was talking about my Moon Knights, my Knights of the Pale, and I was like, how Scythian runs years in the sun, like trapped in the sun,
Oh, okay.
and then you were like,
Cool.
I don't know that.
Yeah, I don't.
That's funny.
Uh, yeah, we keep running into that because I don't know much about like Draw Steel and the Timescape and Orden. So like when I did my cozy fantasy thing and they were like, oh, there was actually like an elf who tried to like make a book about like that would like remove conflict from the world, and I was like, okay, cool, that's what you need to do this thing. Then you need like an incomplete section of that book. I didn't know that was a thing, but
Yeah.
yeah, sure, sounds great.
Yeah.
Oh man, I promise we'll get to my prompt in a second, but I love these. I'm actually kind of sad we didn't get the tier 1 result for the icebreaker question. That's a great question. And I've got
Can I ask?
Yeah, I mean, I threw it in there in case you wanted to steal it for
I've got
future.
I've got strong opinions about that question too. I love funky and weird resolution mechanics.
You feel free to swing that around for next
might,
time, whoever you
I
bring on
might.
next.
All right, so
Where do
my
you lay out your abilities? Sorry.
no, go for it. Yeah.
I am regrettably shackled to Adobe Suite, so this is all custom
Wow.
stuff in Adobe InDesign.
I use
Yeah.
Affinity, and they
Yeah, we do all
free.
our stuff in Affinity, which is
Yeah, I mean, Affinity's great. It's free. Well, it was cheap and now it's free. I'm a little suspicious of Canva, but for the moment,
I am
it's
too.
very
Yeah.
cool stuff.
all right.
Okay, continue on, Will.
All right.
My,
What's that last
my
prompt?
prompt for you, Jacob, that I did not think of during the episode. I would never do that to our audience. I always put lots of thought into these. Is innumerable.
Innumerable.
Yeah, I'm a fan of my
Innumerable.
one-word prompts.
That's good.
And this is clearly a deep lore reference because you're referring to the innumerable younger gods of the humans in Vasloria. So
Yeah, of
perfect
course.
sense.
That's what came to mind for me too.
What else could I be referencing?
Yeah, you knew it was.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, this is fun. I think it's also innumerable. I want to make a character that's
funny,
everywhere and has infinite number. That's a class of just one
You
person.
can
being
make my
everywhere.
Evelyn Wong
There we
class.
go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think it's funny that is the one of these three prompts. That's the one that I instantly am like, I know what I would do for that.
No, that is really good. I gives me ideas. Let's just say that. Gives me ideas.
Great.
I think I
great.
know instantly what I would do for Sin Eater. I don't think I have the capability to do what I want to do.
I've been there. Yeah.
All right. Well, with those wonderful prompts given, I think it is time for us to take our break. We'll have 3 hours in the intervening week to work on these, and then we'll come back together and we'll talk about them. We'll have fun, and thank you all for joining us. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We have taken a week, and in that week we have spent 3 hours on our projects, and we're all feeling ways about them. Welcome back, Jacob and Jonas. How you guys doing?
I'm doing
Good.
great.
Yeah. I'm excited. It was a fun, very super, still very busy from other things, but I was glad to pop this out. We jumping into it? Who's going first?
Yeah.
I think we decided that Jacob would run us through run us through their stuff first. So
Yeah.
what you got,
Let's
Jacob?
go.
Well, Will, do you want to tell me what my prompt is?
Yeah, your prompt was innumerable.
Right.
Awesome.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm gonna share it because basically, so I started with a title in mind, but of course that's not a whole lot, right? So I made the title and was like, oh, I'm gonna make a subclass for the conduit or a sort of a domain. Then I was like, I can't make a domain. I really didn't know what to do. So I just that kind of turned into two separate consumables alongside it. So let me post it in chat. There you go. Basically, what I have here is I have a title, some lore of Choose a God, as well as two sort of higher level consumables.
Neat. Very neat.
Yes.
I already love the title.
Yes, the title is really my sort of my inspirational bouncing board. I was like, innumerable. What am I gonna do? I was like, I want to do this. This sort of I was kind of also inspired by like Kang the Conqueror, like from Marvel, who kind of how they kind of in the fiction they kind of gather sort of copies of themselves and like basically have their own little like empire of like themselves. And I was like, what if I just have a title where you could just do that to a degree? So the title is called Null Rounding Error. And basically the prerequisite is you go beyond the edge of the timescape. The idea being like, oh, you kind of break the universe by sort of going beyond its edge.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yes.
Getting a
where
bit of episode 1 of Star Trek.
yeah, no, yeah, kind of. Mm-hmm. So the idea is like it's pretty simple. Like you reappear in a random place in the timescape, and a copy of you also reappears somewhere. It's pretty self-explanatory. The sort of flavor text is null rounding error, boundary overflow, a clone created, source entity relocated, pinging Architos. Yeah, Architos. I have a hard time saying this because it kind of took inspiration from another name, like a historical name. So I'm not completely sure how to pronounce it.
Mm.
Sure.
So this sort of god being I've created, Architos is sort of name-wise inspired by I believe a Greek philosopher who sort of was the one who kind of made the sort of theory on sort of space being sort of infinite.
Ooh.
And so I kind of that's where I stole the name from. And the idea is that this is the space god of the Inexorables is what I had in mind.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no.
That is pretty cool.
Since the world was created, it had been bound by laws, both major and minor. For such a realm to exist, these limitations had to be established. For their enforcement, the Inexorables came. But what for when those beyond the scope of the world were broke? Who is the arbiter for infinity? Thus, Architos came to be, the leader of the Inexorables. And each existence of Architos exerting his will on the universe, it froze and the universal laws of the world shuddered. Or stuttered. And from each ancient account, it is believed Architos has only needed to act twice. For what reasons, it is unknown.
Ooh.
So kind of
I love that. Yeah, I also love that line. Who was the arbiter for infinity? And I love has only needed to act twice. I have a similar line. Another
Yeah, that's
great.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
that's pretty cool. I love things like that. Like, okay, what were the 2 times?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. So I was kind of inspired by there's this game called The Utility Room. And there was like it's like very much like a weird cosmic game where it's like you go into like the back rooms of the universe.
Sounds like
It's like a VR game.
Yes, I've seen this.
Yeah, and one of the lore for the things like there's this sort of like thing that makes decisions, and the last decision it made was I think 18,000 years ago, and it doesn't tell you what that is.
Oh.
But it's like it just gives you this very sort of specific point, and it's like makes you wonder what it is. So I was kind of inspired by that to give it like, hey, this thing that kind of acted twice, and we don't know why. It's like just kind of only imagine.
Absolutely.
Also, I love the space gods because there's a whole section of space gods in the sort of base rules, and there's only I don't know if the Inexorables are mentioned in the base rules. Are they?
I wouldn't know.
I feel like there might be a one-off, but they're not. Yeah, they haven't really come to draw steel yet.
In X, I like them, but I hope they sort of do something with them in the future.
No, it's not in the book.
Oh wow, okay.
Maybe
Yeah,
when we get
that's
a
what I was
timescape supplement.
Yeah, They're in Kings and Warfare.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, they're sort of like the cosmic arbiters of all the laws of the universe. And Arctos is kind of like, and also like I think specifically they're made for Orden, if I'm remembering the lore correctly.
Yeah, they're
I don't know.
basically the Orden version of the Inevitables from D&D.
Yeah, so like I imagine
Yeah.
this one's like, hey, what happens like if people like go beyond the edge of the universe or like do like things that kind of like are kind of beyond the scope of the Inexorables that kind of just breaks everything. They get involved.
That's
Um,
fair.
and it's very obvious when they get involved because like all like the universal like sort of laws kind of just shudder and like things happen. Yeah, and then from there I made two sort of really simple consumables. Both of these actually were originally made for the conduit subclass I was working on, the Infinity domain. But I was like, I think it just work better as consumables
Hmm.
in the end.
Fair.
So the first one is the Bottle of Aether, basically a more um, portable version of what that is. I imagine like people almost like fishing out sort of ether from like the edge of the universe, like some like what like some probably like so the text is false. Imagine some like I imagine when things are pushed to their limits in the timescapes, it's probably the Time Raiders' fault. I don't know why. I just imagine the Time Raiders to be like people on like doing like the most riskiest things on the edge of everything.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think this is profiling. Is it just because they're called the Time Raiders? They really need to rebrand.
Yeah, that's kind of what I kind of was inspired by, and like it. No, there's a 25% chance of an inexorable appearing. So I was like, I'll give us some 10% chance of going like wrong.
That's hilarious.
That is pretty fun.
I also had the idea of having so it makes a duplicate that has like everything you could do, like basically a whole like duplicate, but they pull from the same heroic resource pool, which kind of limits a lot of their stuff, I imagine, in a very like in a way that's kind of balanced. I think.
Yeah, interesting. You basically get some like, extra signatures and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know if that would work in play, but that's sort of what I had in mind. Then I have the sub Universal Charter, which basically again this is originally going to be the conduit's domain ability, where they could while they're in combat they could basically use this, and no one that means no one can leave the battle map. If they kill to one end, they come out the other, basically like Pac-Man rules. Um,
That's
That's
hilarious.
fun.
That's so
which I think is
so
very
funny.
very fun. Yeah,
I had a Mage the Awakening character who was primarily a Space and Mind mage who absolutely loved doing stuff like that.
like you could see in Arctos, I added one of the domains in there is the Affinity domain,
Yeah,
which again doesn't exist, but I really want to see like a timescape flavored uh, domain for the conduit would be really cool.
that's fair.
Yeah, it's just kind of what I have. It's not much, but it's kind of extrapolated from the same thing. Um, the idea
Yeah,
of like sort of
I'm really excited by the infinity domain idea. I love the flavor on Archytos. I love the flavor on these items. The anything that messes with like the meta structure of the game, like the encounter map, that's really cool to me. So that's really funny. I like that a lot.
thank you. I like the idea of
Yeah,
like of a title that was like in itself like almost like an error in the book. Like why is this called null rounding error?
Yeah,
That was
that's
very funny.
so good.
that is pretty fun.
Like this title is literally just breaking the game, right? I think it's
Yeah.
very good.
I have a question about the item prerequisite for the sub-universal charter. Do
Yeah,
they have to be accurate interpolations?
that's a good question.
Or can I just be wrong?
If they aren't, they're probably not. May change the quality of the item. I imagine.
Because like an interpolation is taking two existing points and trying to
Yeah.
get guess is a bad word for it, but I'm going to use it because I can't think of a good word. Guess what happens in between those points.
Predict.
So can I just be yeah, predict. That's a much better. Thank you. Can I can I just make very bad predictions?
Let me just do. There we go.
Aw. Okay.
Bug fixing in real time. Yeah, right there. Or maybe I could just do of specifically inaccurate. There.
That's I think that's almost funnier if it's specifically inaccurate interpolations. I,
Yeah.
I can almost imagine like a crazy like a some sort of crazy mad, space scientist who has these charts and he's like, this is how the world works, and everyone else looks at him and is like, what in the world are you talking about? None of that's right. None of this math makes sense.
Yeah. No.
Breaking space
Um.
time by being confidently incorrect.
Exactly.
I'm a big fan of just all like timescape stuff, and this is basically my sort of working on some on sort of miscellaneous timescape nonsense.
These are really cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
sick.
thank
Love
you.
them.
This makes me want to run. I need to run at some point like a Spelljammer style like timescape thing with draw steel.
It's
Well,
good for that.
yeah, Paul just released an adventure, I think, or at least partially finished adventure.
Yeah, I saw. It's less Spelljammer, more straight sci-fi.
Mm, fair enough.
You're talking about To Defy the Stars, right?
Yes. Yeah. No, but for this, I think Arctos is now canon in my setting, in my Orden. Yeah. I'm really happy with this. I think, although it's not a lot, I think what I have here is really good.
Yeah, I love it. I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but one of the things I've got in my stable yet to come out is a shadow subclass that is about splitting the multiverse and pulling in versions of yourself from alternate timelines to fight with.
Yeah.
And so, of course, I'm instantly in love. It'd be
Yeah.
perfect match.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So that's my thing.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, that's wild. I love it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. So now that I've sort of given, oh, one more thing, wait. I would probably expand this. What I would do is I'd probably, what I think I'd probably do. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Is I wouldn't release this on its own, like from only me. What I would probably do is I'd contact Draw Steel people and be like, hey, make me a space god, and probably release those as a sort of collection. Would be really fun
Yeah, I would
That
love to
would
see
be
that.
really cool.
of the space gods and just miscellaneous timescape stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
I just love I talked about this last time as well. Like just anything. Draw Steel is the way it's designed to allow for stuff like that, where you can just say like, yeah, you get a duplicate. They act and they share your stats and your resources, or like, yeah, you can just Pac-Man the encounter map. Like that's stuff that I haven't seen in almost any other tabletop game, and in Draw Steel it feels completely natural.
this is the second time I've written a character option that lets you make an exact copy of yourself.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I love it.
Yeah, because my original cyborg I made also had a similar ability.
Does it
Um,
still have that ability in
I think it does. Yeah, I think it's a
the
magic
less
item now.
skilled version?
Yeah.
Not to toot our own horn too much, but
This is what I have. I guess next, Jonas.
Oh,
Do you wanna
yeah,
tell us what your
geez.
thing is?
Sure. So, would you like to tell me what my prompt was?
Your prompt was Sin Eater.
Yeah. All right. So like I said, I didn't immediately know what I wanted to do, and I did. There was a challenge to make a class, and I was very tempted, but I decided I'll do something I think I can actually complete instead. Um, so the main thing I made is a solo because I love solos and I want to do nothing but solos all the time forever. But I also added a title and actually two titles. Just that's no, sorry, a title and a trinket. Um, that are not connected to the solo. It just kind of like three different takes on the same idea. Because I knew the solo was the core of it, and then I was like, okay, but I also want to explore these two other interpretations just to have them in there. So it's a bit long. I don't know if I should go through every like line of text, but I will summarize at least. I think I did go over time on this a little bit, but not super much. Mostly, just I stopped myself from like fully formatting it out in design and my layout program and stuff like that. But I did want to make it look nice and clean, so that took some extra time. But yeah, starting at the top, we've got Sin Eater, just called that. It's an Echelon 2 title. Flavor text: you knew the price and you paid it. You'd made your choice and you were content. But it seems a hero's work is never finished. The prerequisite is you sacrifice your life to save another, and then you come back to life and you get a benefit. You can choose Bear the Weight, which lets you take a condition from an adjacent ally as long as you can't cheat it. So if you're immune to being dazed, you can't take dazed from someone. You have to actually bear the weight. There's I Will Carry You, which is whenever you spend recoveries, you can use a free trigger to let an ally spend there's I Will Carry You, which is when you spend recoveries, you can use a free trigger to let an ally within 10 of you also spend a recovery. I think that one's probably the weakest and maybe needs a buff of some kind. And then there's Share the Burden. When an adjacent ally takes damage, you can split the damage between you, but it can't be reduced anyway. So again, no cheating. If you're going to share the burden, you're going to share the burden. So that's
like that.
That's first title. Pretty simple. There's a couple titles in Draw Steel already that let you come back to life with some caveat. I think there might be one Echelon 2. I think it starts at 3. So I thought, appropriately heroic option. If you die while sacrificing your life for someone, you can swing back around.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
All right, and then the big one. Again, I won't go through every single line, but I'll try and summarize the abilities. So this is the Avatar of Sacred Filth. This is a level 6 solo.
Name.
That's
a really good name.
Yeah, I mean, so originally I was going to make like an angel type solo, who is like about punishment and repentance and that kind of thing. I strayed away from that, one, because there aren't any creatures like that normally in the Timescape, and I thought this should be something that it doesn't. I mean, obviously, there's no obligation for it to fit into Orden, but I kind of wanted to make it seem like it was appropriate at least. And then it could have been like a Solar Celestial or something. I don't know. But then also when I was researching, I saw that that Sin Eater, which is this European concept of eating a meal to take on the sins of the dead. There is also a Mesoamerican goddess who is also referred to as a sin eater. And there is this lore that in Aztec mythology, where there's this goddess Tlazoteo. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but I tried. I looked it up. Who is a deity of impurity, temptation, vice, excess, but also absolution and purification, but also sex and lust and carnality. And I think nice. I think I read that she is the patron deity of adulterers, and that she has multiple names. One of which is it basically literally Sin Eater, and one of which is the like death by lust, or something like that. So
that's pretty cool.
Then I thought I'll go in that direction. I was gonna make like a demon lord. I was gonna make one of my like eldritch horror flesh monsters that I've been working on, because it was a pretty perfect fit. And then I decided, you know what? I am not a practitioner or descendant of the Aztec people. I don't know Nahuatl or anything like that, so maybe I don't make this random god into a demon thing. So it's not directly to Tlazoteo. It's not supposed to be like that. Oh, also steam baths. Also the goddess of like steam and steam baths is part of this as well. So it's not directly related to her at all. Just inspired on the top level. And to throw in some extra spice and kind of switch it up, I also sort of went in the direction of No Face from Spirited Away, the Ghibli movie.
Oh, that's fun.
So it leans a little bit more in that direction uh, than just being the Aztec goddess. So we have Avatar of Sacred Filth, level 6 solo Avatar. It's got all the regular stuff. It's immune to corruption and fire damage. It can teleport when it moves. Solo turns, all the usual. Internal Void, they can share space with anything, and if they start their turn, they deal damage to anything they're sharing space, because they are just this like consuming, hungry void, basically. They can teleport. When they teleport, they leave behind difficult terrain that burns people. So they leave these scalding pools of water. And then the title trait, Sin Eater. Whenever a creature within 5 squares of the avatar uses a feature or ability to end effects on themselves or another creature, the avatar gains 5 temporary stamina for each effect. So if you just end the thing at the end of your turn, you're fine. But when the conduit pops out a healing grace and wipes everyone's conditions, now the avatar gains like 40 temporary stamina. And we will see why that's important, because it's a very condition heavy boss. I should also say, shout out to Madalonian, Chaotic Gudra, who gave me a quick once over on this to make sure I wasn't missing anything terrible. Matt is working on a monster band of like mental constructs that are very condition heavy. So I was heavily inspired by that as well.
Nice.
The signature is Touch of Filth. It's a melee, does some corruption damage, and then 3 potencies. It's might less than whatever bleeding, reason less than whatever slowed, and presence less than whatever weakened. Second main for Malice, it makes a cube with like a scalding geyser that deals fire damage and pushes you up in the air. And then you get to end an effect on yourself, but if you do, they make a free strike to punish you for it. The default maneuver is Tempt. It chooses a creature. They can make a free strike against the avatar, but if they do, the avatar gets to end effects on themselves. I put this in because I've been running a lot of solos, and the only thing I don't like about solos is how easy it is to shut them down with dazed and restrained and slowed and all this BS. So Tempt lets it get out of that, and then if you don't take the free strike, you get frightened and pulled in. Second maneuver, Gluttonous Consumption. Just a grab, it'll pull you inside of it and restrain you if you were already grabbed. Triggered action, Exhort Impurity. This one was inspired by something that Tamwin made in the brewery, who we had on the podcast previously. So once it's the regular trigger, when a target ends a condition on themselves normally, so a save or end of turn, so not the other thing that it gains stamina for, can use a trigger and make you keep suffering that effect until the end of your next turn. You thought you saved?
Oh, that's diabolical.
No, you didn't. Just once. I know it feels terrible, but it can only do it once per round. So Exhort Impurity, keep that. It's just 1 per turn trigger if you really want to stick a hard condition. I also just really enjoy the flavor text. Repentance takes time. Then a second trigger, Overflowing Vice for 2 Malice. It's a free trigger, but it costs 2. And it's when something imposes a condition on the avatar, then the avatar can say, you know what, you get it too. And reflect the condition on you. They keep it. They still have the condition, but now you have to share. Then we get the villain actions. First one is Wave of Debauchery. Every enemy, it just gets hit with 5 potencies. It's Might, Potency, Bleeding, Agility, Potency, Restrained, Reason, Potency, Slowed, Intuition, Potency, Dazed, and Presence, Potency, Frightened. Because this thing really needs to put out more conditions. Villain action 2, Beguiling Excess. Everyone can shift and make a free strike against the avatar, but if you do, the avatar gives you 1 of 5 terrible conditions. Bleeding, Dazed, Frightened, Prone and Can't Stand, Restrained, or Slowed if there's 6 of you. But it can't give the same one out more than once. So I really like this like almost prisoner's dilemma kind of thing, where if one hero makes the free strike, they're going to get dazed. But every hero who makes a free strike after that will get a less bad condition, and you can stack a lot of damage that way. And then third villain action, Agonizing Absolution. the avatar clears all effects on all the heroes.
Oh.
They take 5 damage for every effect that just got cleared. And then the avatar takes any conditions they have right now and puts them back on the heroes. That one's kind of up in the
Oh
air.
man.
I need to see that in play because I don't know, like, by the end of the fight, maybe there won't be that many conditions around. I don't know. But just the idea of, like, listen, you can clear it. You take a shit ton of damage. And then I put some more stuff back on you. Deal with that.
I do have to say I love all the ways of just making heroes keep conditions.
I've played enough solos. It's really hard if you have a solo that's focused on conditions like this at all. It's really hard to get them to stick, especially in second echelon and above. And especially if you have a conduit. I mean, then nothing's gonna stick. But so I might have overcompensated giving ways to make things stick, but we'll see. Then the malice features, I'll run through these real quick. First one, for 3 malice, they pull an enemy, and if you come adjacent, they can grab you. 5 malice, forgive thyself. They transfer any condition the avatar has that's an end of turn condition. They transfer that to someone else, and then anything they have that is a saving throw becomes end of turn. Then solo action, of course, and then last one, steamy allure. I didn't want to. One thing I started with actually in this design I should mention is, like, it started as more of like a lust succubus kind of demon or incubus, like that kind of thing. But I like sort of something that Draw Steel avoids is like taking like charm effects, really taking away player agency. There's a little bit of it, but just kind of felt weird and like uncomfortable to start doing that in the modern era. I don't know. Might be fine, but I felt like it wasn't very Draw Steel, so I just went with this more like abstracted version. But it's still a little bit sexy. So Steamy Allure, 7 malice. The encounter map fills with steam until the end of the round. All of its potency is increased by 1, and it can use that trigger as a free trigger once. So 1 extra effect on that. So that's the solo. That's the big draw. That was the thing I was working on the most. Took the most time. I feel like it's either I need to test it. I think it might be miserable, but it also might be really fun. I don't know.
I was about to say I really want to make some people fight this thing.
It is a beast of a monster.
Yeah,
it really is.
I love it.
I think, again, like I said, I might be overcompensating a lot of it just from my experience. It might be too hard on the conditions. I don't know. Be really party dependent, I think. But yeah, if anyone tries it out, I'd love to know. And then finally, the third thing I made, the third avenue I wanted to explore. So I won't spoil too much of the Draw Steel lore, but there is there's a deep part of the lore of Orden that I don't even know how much is like really supposed to be public or not, but it's been in the open for a while, or at least known about in the community. There is a god in the timescape who was censored by the other gods, and I won't get into why. That's all a bunch of spoiler stuff, but their name is Cyn, C-Y-N. And there's this moment, I think it happens in the chain, and I think it also happens in Colville's books, where like a celestial says, you humans, always you turn to sin. And people in the world think, and the reader and the listener think sin, S-I-N, but actually they're talking about something much bigger and much worse. So this last one is Redacted Eater, because that is how the name is shown in Draw Steel products and, in Kingdoms and Warfare and Strongholds, where it was first shown as like an ink blot torn out of the page. It's a 4th echelon trinket. The source is texts or lore in a language unknown to mortals. The prerequisite is the essence of a god, saint, or celestial to be ritually consumed during the creation of the item. And then the effect is you can stick it on a weapon or implement, and then whenever you kill something, or whenever you reduce an enemy to 0, you absorb part of their essence. And whatever their highest characteristic score is, your score, that score for you, increases by 1. Which is crazy, and completely breaks the game, which is fine because it's 4th echelon, and everything in 4th echelon breaks the game. But then, when all of your characteristics have increased to 6, you are on the verge of ascending to godhood. or something not quite like it. Your stolen apotheosis draws the attention of higher beings. Your fate is in their hands. So you can buff yourself to incredible levels, but if you go too far, you attract the attention of something that probably ends your campaign.
Okay.
It's really good.
I can be trusted with this. I would never go too
I
far.
would simply-
I'm different than all the others.
I would simply stop at 66665 and never use it again. For sure.
Exactly. I'm simply wiser and more in control of myself than all those who have come before me.
I am ripped to others, but I would never go so far as to display my hubris to the gods. I am simply built different, perhaps better
Exactly.
even than the gods.
Yeah.
Right.
A part of your wishes draw stealing its 3 stats, so that whenever you get to 666, and that's whenever the creature is drawn to.
That'd be kind of funny.
It would be.
Yeah. So that's what I got. I went
Man.
3 different routes. Player can be a Sin Eater, you can fight a Sin Eater, or you can be a different kind of Sin Eater.
I have to say, I really love that trinket. That trinket is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I think
I
it's.
love.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go. I was just gonna say I love seeing items or things that I'm instantly like, oh, that's made for me. I would totally do that. Nothing's gonna stop me from doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it completely breaks the game. I don't even know if it's like particularly fun because you just kind of have to kill like 15 things and then whatever. Like, because it's also not optional, right? So you get to kill 15 or however many. I didn't do the math. 20 things with it before all your stats max out, and then you're doomed. So.
Yeah, but you could just stop using it any time.
Right.
Something.
Yeah, of course.
Something I like about this, something I think that would be really cool with this trinket is if you had to kill something with a characteristic higher than the one you heal, if that makes sense. So if you want to get to 6, you have to kill something with something higher than 5.
That was
That
my original plan, and I guess it could still be like that because it could rely on homebrew stuff. But currently, the only thing in the game with a stat of 6 is Ajax, and he only has 1.
Well, just toss Ajax out the side of the universe, and then
Right.
2 Ajaxes.
yeah, and duplicate him. So
just keep throwing them out.
yeah, so like I think, or no, actually, Ajax doesn't even have 6. Ajax has a 6 potency, and I think some of the other leaders too, but Ajax only has stats 5. So the only way to get it higher would be for your fellow heroes to take the titles that boost you to 6 and then kill them.
Wow. That would be cool.
Okay, but that's kind of cool though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
it's
find
a
some,
good story
I don't know
hook.
if it's good I don't know if that's good game design, but it's kind of
kinda cool, yeah,
if that
no,
was
for
the
sure.
only way.
Oh, yeah, that's
man,
what I
this
got.
is really cool.
You really knocked it out of the park. I think you've made my thing. Oh man, this is great.
No, I mean, listen,
I don't
was
I
always
don't
going
want
to
to go
be way
last anymore.
extra.
Can I have gone first?
No, don't, because I really like your stuff, and I'm sure Will, I'm sure you did something cruel too. I was always gonna go way too hard, and I don't mean to put it on myself. I just like it just is how much I love this game, right? It's just how much I love homebrewing for this. I don't know if any of this is good. I don't know if this monster is fightable. I don't know if the trinket like is usable at all. Like, don't imagine that I have any idea what I'm doing, at least in terms of like actual implementation. But I just enjoy. It's just so easy in Draw Steel to take a flavor concept and mechanize it, and that's what I really love doing.
You and Tamlin went really hard on each individual projects.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was about to make the joke. Okay, no more Tamwins or Jonases on the podcast. They're making us look bad.
No, come on. You guys look great. It's not a race.
I know.
And I cheated.
you're right.
Like I said, I went over time. I think I spent like 4 hours doing all this.
That's not right.
And I didn't count
Yeah,
research either. I don't know if I should have, but if you count that,
Oh,
it's
no.
even more
I
time.
never
I
I never
don't.
count research.
Okay.
I don't. Also, as a note, just for folks listening who may not know, the inexorables, just to give context, inexorables, in my good document, if you learn who Sin is, they come to kill you.
That's hilarious.
That's one of the laws they keep in check.
Um, what is there anything you would if you had more time to work on these? Is there anything you would change or like to expand
Yeah,
just off the top of the dome?
yeah. I think I thought the trinket should be. It feels weird for it just to be a trinket. I mean, like, it only needs the one crazy effect to be good, but it probably should be more of like it should have been. It should be an artifact. But
That's fair.
artifacts in Draw Steel are huge and they do really crazy stuff. And I just was like, I don't have the time or the brain power to think of like 17 new stupid effects that could flavorfully fit this. Um,
That's fair.
so that's one thing. I think the title I'm pretty happy with. Like I said, I think one of the benefits might be a little weaker than the others. And then the monster, probably stuff I would change if I get to test it. But off the top, yeah, no, I think the thing I'm worried about with it is like the push and pull of applying and clearing conditions. I don't know if that's fun. I think it has to. Well, I think it's fun. I don't know if it is gonna naturally be fun. I think there's like a very particular rhythm it would have to hit, and it would be a fragile rhythm, like easy to imbalance.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it going kind of either way, because I've definitely had combats, not necessarily in Draw Steel, but in other games, where I was clearing things off of people, and it felt really good that the enemies kept putting things out there, because
Yeah,
it made me feel really useful. I've also had combats where it felt like, okay, well, I'm the guy who's the cleric or whatever, and in this combat, my only job is to remove conditions from other people, and I feel like that's all I'm doing, and I'm not really enjoying myself. So there definitely is some fragile so, balance there to when is that fun and when is that a chore.
yeah. And like I said, it was partially inspired by Madalonian's Vexations, which we did a playtest for, and the conduit in that felt similarly, where it was like, I'm cool to be the conduit and just wipe everyone's conditions, but then the conditions immediately come back. So it feels like there's like a main thing that is being dropped out. But I also think it's also part of my philosophy that like sometimes you should get your stuff turned off and like figure something else out. I don't know. Just depends on
Mhm.
how
That's fair.
harsh it is and how bad it feels.
I really
That's
thought
fair.
Brave of the Botchery is such a smartly made ability
Which one's wait,
This is the
because
third
that
action one. It's the five potencies.
yeah because
When
at
I
face value it's
oh
was,
like, oh,
yeah,
this
that one's
is
really fun.
because
go
at
ahead,
face
David.
value I feel like, oh, this is really dangerous, but I think a lot of heroes at this point would have a fair few of those um already at 3 or higher, so it makes it such like a like each hero has like very different type of condition, right?
Yeah, you should have
Yeah.
two stats at 3 and maybe 3. So you're gonna
Yeah.
get like, I think only you can technically build so you only have one. I think so. You're gonna get between 2 and 4 conditions, and maybe those should get bumped down because also like it can activate the mouse feature to bump its potencies, so that might be a
Mm.
problem. But actually, when I showed this to Madalonian, he started reading it, and one of the first things he said when he got through like the first couple traits was like, "Oh man, I should make a solo that has a villain action that applies an effect for every potency." And I just reacted with a blob sweat emoji. And then he got to that villain action. He was like, "No way!"
It's funny.
That's pretty funny. I love when that happens.
And I just
Oh.
that poor NPC that's on the battlefield just is totally messed up.
Absolutely.
He's just the poor bystander who's walking around, bleeding, restrained, slowed, dazed, and frightened.
Yeah. It sounds about right. Yeah. Do you, like we asked like how you would expand it? Do you think you would like is something you think in the future you'd want to like expand upon or do something with?
Yeah, I mean, I'd put I might, I now that I have it, I think I might just take the avatar and rework them into the Eldritch horror angels that I have, and think of it. I didn't, like I said, I didn't want to accuse Tlazoteo of being an Eldritch abomination, but I think if I
Yeah.
tweak the flavor a little bit, I could make that adaptation. So that might go into something I'm working on next year.
Awesome.
I think the other stuff, either it'll go into something else or just like compiled into various assorted homebrew stuff that I do, like I'm doing for my Promptober. And then yeah, the Sin Eater, that's the only one that I feel like I might not touch, even though I said I would want it to be an artifact. Um, I
That's
really
fair.
I really just did it for the joke. um,
Yeah.
and I think it's the kind of esoteric world knowledge that is like almost a spoiler for the world. It's also not something everyone knows, and I don't run or play in Orden anyway, so it's not something I would need to use.
Yeah.
So it's really just there for the joke, because I couldn't
I'm really glad
resist.
you did it. I think really glad you did it because I didn't even think about that as a possibility, and now it's like, oh, it's so cool.
Yeah.
That is
It,
really cool.
fun fact: I had Will
I
read the first two. He's borrowed my copies of the Matt Kibbles novels, so now they know about the Sin
yeah
thing, Celestial.
uh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's exciting.
I definitely didn't catch that when I was reading them.
No,
I'm
it's
also
those are good books. I like them.
significantly less invested in Orden as a world than some Draw Steel players. I'm very hands off of Orden. I'm not even running my Draw Steel. The first ever Draw Steel game I've run, I'm not even running in Orden. I was like, no, I'm gonna run in my thing.
Yeah, I think like
Uh,
only 30 something percent of MCDM's customers use Orden at all.
yeah,
That tracks.
That's
I'm
why
trying to
they
think. I
canceled their
feel like
setting book.
oh, I feel like I could find a place for this trinket in my world though. I don't know where right off the top of my head, but I feel like I could find a place for it in my world, and I might stick it in my world. I think
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
fun.
I mean, yeah, feel free. It's not, the lore part is only really relevant to the name. It doesn't, and I did that on purpose. That it wasn't supposed to like. That's why the item itself isn't really a spoiler mechanically. It doesn't have anything to do with that lore. It's just the
Right.
joke of the name. So yeah, absolutely, it could be just renamed and put in as like some ancient god killing weapon or something like that.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a
no,
lot.
no. I've been tempted to use Eberron for my default draw steel setting because I think it just works. It would work so well. But no, but this is really good.
Oh.
I guess also another question I usually ask folks. Yeah, so I imagine well, I was about to say I imagine this is pretty new for you, but I guess you during Promptober, you probably had a very similar sort of like once a day sort of cadence of creation. How'd you like sort of this format of sort of creating new things like a week, 3 hours with a prompt? How'd it feel?
Yeah, I mean, I like the prompt. Creation, creativity thrives in constraint. I The week was also fine. Like, I mean, it's just been super busy for me and other things. So in that sense, also the time limit helped because I was like, I can't spend too much time on this, both because I'm not supposed to, and also because I have to I have to finish the script and I have to finish a presentation and I have to finish this and that. Um, so yeah, it was definitely helpful on both sides as a constraint. Um, I think I prefer, in terms of like if I was doing a long term thing, which this is not, but um, the doing something every day is really important for building a habit, and this is something that, so I'm a writer first, and I have a lot of friends who talk about how much they want to write and how they just can't find the motivation. And the best advice I ever saw on writing, and there's a million things about it, that are all very particular and very specific. The only piece of writing advice that I'd ever really seen, I mean, not the only one. There's some good ones like read and share feedback and meet other writers. Like those are all good. But one of the only pieces of writing advice that I think applies basically universally is, if you rely on motivation, and I'm doing air quotes, you can't see, but if you rely on motivation to accomplish your work, you're never going to get anything done. And there are people out there who are able to write as they are inspired and get stuff done, or paint or make music or whatever. Like, and also, it's not a bad thing if you aren't doing it to get it done, but just because you feel inspired. Oh, hold on. Oh my God, I'm dying. Ooh. Throat just went dry. It's not a bad thing to, I don't want to sound like, oh, you need to finish things and publish them and sell. Like, it's not about like monetizing your hobbies or anything like that. It's totally okay and beautiful and human to just make art when you feel like making art, and that's all that has to be. But if you are invested in finishing something, if you want to hold a book in your hand or a game in your hand or whatever, chasing motivation it could get you there. And maybe it'll be a complete thing. But it probably won't get you all the way there if it gets you there at all, because you're never going to be motivated to work on the boring parts, the interstitial things, and sometimes you're just never going to be motivated to finish it. So the thing that I learned, the trip that I learned to actually finish this tangent was, don't rely on motivation, cultivate discipline. And it doesn't matter if you write one sentence, but write every day. Write a sentence, write a paragraph. If you don't, set a goal, and if you don't meet the goal, that's fine as long as you try. So same goes for this, where during Promptober, there were days where I was like swamped and I didn't want to do things, but I knew if I don't put in something right now, that gives me an excuse not to put in something tomorrow. And I really wanted to finish this, both to train my Draw Steel homebrew stuff, and just because I was enjoying it, right? I was having a good time. Why would I deprive myself of having this good time just because right now I feel a little bit tired? And same for all my writing. Like, I try to write a little bit every day, at least. And just generally, yeah, I try not to rely on motivation too much because it's too fickle. Yeah. And I feel like what would happen with a weekly thing, if I was to do this often, is I would put it off all the time, and I would just be doing a lot of stuff last minute. This time, I paced myself. Like like I said, I spent a couple days thinking, and then I worked on a little bit every day. And so I kind of turned it into a daily thing for myself. But I bet over time, if I was to do a lot of it, I would procrastinate too much, and it would be worse, and I wouldn't get things done.
I think that is really good advice, because like, I myself, I really struggle with habit building, with design, because again, I that's kind of reasons why I'm doing this podcast, partially why I've kind of made it. It gives a good motivation for getting the stuff done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I'd really struggle to do that. And I think you're definitely right that habit building should be like sort of is one of the best things you could do for sort of just doing creative acts, right? Wanting to get something finished.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're in my head. Oh, sorry.
No. I just the other half of it as well, for this especially. One of the other great tools that I've gotten for finishing stuff that I write or whatever is having someone to hold you accountable, and that you hold them accountable, right? Mm-hmm. And people refer to this as the accountability buddy system, or at least I do. I don't know if anyone else says that. So the upside of this system is not just that, like, I knew I had a week, I had a limited amount of time, but also I had two people counting on me. And if I showed up with nothing, I'd be lame. And they would both be disappointed. And they were making stuff. So it's not just that it's not just that you guys are expecting something from me, but I'm expecting something from you, right? And it's the fact that it's a two-way street is even more motivation. It's like, not only if I don't finish this, if I don't come up with something I'm proud of, right? And that's what I mean more so, like when you guys are like, oh, you did so much. Like, I'm not worried about that. As long as you guys are proud of what you did, I think that's what counts. And I really like, I went extra because I'm an extra person, but that's not any better or worse. So if I don't show up with something I'm proud of, and you guys have both shown up with stuff you're proud of, or even if there's like things you want to tweak, like, it's still something you're like, all right, I did this and I want to show it, right? Like, that's a failure for me. That's a failure on you. It's like disrespectful. It's and it's demotivating for everyone. It's like, well, why should we even care? So yeah, it's write every day, and if you can, find someone else who is also working, not just write every day, work every day on whatever you're working on, and find someone else who is doing it too, and trade progress and trade encouragement and check in, right? One of my favorite things to do I did NaNoWriMo with a friend of mine once, and Well, I've done a couple times, but one time with a particular friend, we traded um, every day. We would trade a snippet of something we had written that day that we liked. And if you don't know NaNoWriMo, it's a thing that you write a novel in a month. 50,000 words is about 1,600 words every day. And of course, we didn't hit the word count every day, but we knew we had to write something every day because we had to send a line to the other person that we liked. And that was
Mm.
really motivating for me, and I think for both of us, to get it done. And we both finished out the month. I don't remember if we both hit 50, but we got pretty far.
I will say
Nice.
it's really funny that you sort of bring it like all this up in our discussion because one of the big roadblocks me and Will are having in sort of like is working on the Denture Town, sort of an RPG working on, is just that sort of progress and getting progress done in sort of a timely sort of like habit forming manner.
Yeah.
So it's just really funny. Um, they bring
It's
this up.
very, very topical for us.
Uh,
All right.
yeah. So
Will.
Will is
Oh,
next.
are we sure it's me? There's no one else, huh?
Yeah.
Just me?
And this
Okay.
time
Yeah.
I get to tell you what your prompt was, and it is me who gave you the prompt this time, and not Jacob, like we thought before. And I know that part has been
Yeah.
cut from the episode, but I'm referencing it anyway to add to the mystery.
Well, somebody out there will get to hear it if you know.
It's all part of my meta plan to invoke um your prompt. Which, have we already been on for an hour? Wow, I talk too
Yeah.
much, huh?
Huh?
Um,
No, you're good. It was a good discussion. It was a good
Yeah.
I'm glad you
I love
guys.
having guests who talk because that means I get to shut up.
Well, all right, as long as you guys are into it. I anyway, it's to add to the mystery of the incomprehensible and unknowable, such as things on the cutting room floor, because your prompt was cosmic or eldritch horror.
Yeah. Let me send that. Send what I've got. I don't have a lot. I have the thing I like the most is the malice feature. I made malice features for
Ooh,
horrors. Um, and then I was like, okay, I have these malice features. I need to make something to use these malice
right.
features. So I've also got a little level 3 minion harrier, and I've got the very start of a level 5 leader for them.
Sick.
Um, so the malice features are pretty simple. 3 cost malice from beyond the stars, 2 whites, which are the minions we will get to later, uh, appear in an unoccupied space within 10 of another horror. So just if you don't put these things down, they just keep coming. Uh, The 5 cost malice is horrible realization. All heroes who can see a horror must make a reason or intuition, whichever is higher, test. I put that in there specifically because I know normally if it says like do this or this, you kind of can choose. But in this one, it's got to be your higher stat. And I did something a little bit
Yeah, I see it.
funny
Yeah.
in which, because I'm trying to lean into the eldritch and cosmic horror angles, where understanding the things around you is
Yep.
dangerous and often bad for you. The better you do on this roll, the worse it is for you. So 11 and lower is 2 psychic damage, 12 to 16, 6 psychic damage, and your days till end of turn. 17 plus, so tier 3, is 9 psychic damage, and your dazed save ends. So you do not want to understand these things
Mm-hmm.
because trying will drive you mad.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one I made so far is a 9 cost Beyond Strength, and you just get to take away one of the hero tokens from the heroes.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I wanted to lean it. I do not think, and I have not designed these, that you would just drop them into a regular draw steal game.
Right.
Especially the stealing hero tokens. These are meant for if you want like that kind of Eldritch Horror, if you're trying to take some of the agency away from your players, and that's why I wouldn't drop these into a normal draw steal game. I think
Yeah.
I think it can be very easy to um, do that in a way that's not very fun, especially if people aren't aware it's going to be happening ahead of time, especially in a system like Draw Steel, which really shies away from doing that. But yeah, I don't know if 9 is too little or too much for taking a hero token away. I really can only say from my experience, my players usually forget they have hero tokens.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's quite a bit too much, but I do love it.
Yeah, so I might, if I went back, I'd probably lower that. I might switch I might just make it another 5 cost one,
Yeah,
actually. I don't know.
I love it a
Yeah.
lot. That's really really cool. Like I said earlier, I love messing with like meta game mechanics like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun. Well, yeah, when you mentioned like how cool that was with the map wrapping, I was like, oh boy, have I got something for you. Um, yeah, so then I've got this little level 3 minion Harrier, who I don't think is really complete. I'd like to give it another ability of some sort, but it was good enough that I started moving on to the next one. So it's called a white. I didn't want to call it a ghoul because I knew ghouls were already a thing. I did not have the presence of mind to check and see if white was already used. So,
There's no. I don't think there's a white. There is a soul white, but there's no generic white because everything. I think because Draw Steel uses white for so many things like Raiden whites and Storm whites and soul. So like they didn't want to
mm,
just have a generic
that's
white
fair.
because that just means guy.
It does, yeah. It just means man. Yeah. So they're size 1M, speed 7, stamina 8, stability 0, free strike 2. They have immunity to psychic and corruption 4, might 3, agility 2, and 0 for everything else. They're basically kind of they're kind of your classic like mindless or almost mindless animalistic horrors. Um, I've once got blah, blah, blah. I've once again done something funny with their potencies for their unnatural claws. Uh, so on a tier 1 result, which I don't think I wrote, it's probably 2d10 plus 3. So on a tier 1 result, they do 2 damage, and if your reason is less than 3, you are slowed. And to the keen-eared viewers, this might sound really, really bad because potencies go up, except they don't. Once again, or wait, no, reason.
That says greater.
I think I wrote this.
Yeah.
That should. Is that correct? Hang on. I've forgotten what
A normal
why I did.
potency should be R less than 3. That says R greater than 3.
Oh
Which
I'm trying to
no!
also
remember if
which
I did that
also
on.
is cool in a backwards way.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember if I did that on purpose or not. I don't think I did.
Well,
it's really funny though.
I almost did exactly that for the Avatar Sacred Filth. It was there was an effect on it I had that was it was exactly this where it was presence greater than 3 was the tier 1 potency, and it went up, or when the potency went down, as the more presence you had, the easier it was to affect you. And
Oh.
I cut it and just made it a thing that happens without potency. But I'm very delighted to see this.
I think I did do that on purpose. I think it is supposed to be greater
I think
than.
that's
Sorry,
what makes sense to me. Yeah, exactly. That's why
I read I read through that and I was like, what in the world did I do?
oh I think that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so on their tier 1 result, if your reason is greater than 3, you're slowed end of turn. Tier 2 is 4 damage, reason greater than 2, you're slowed end of turn. And tier 3, if your reason is greater than 1, you're slowed till end of turn. Yeah, which once again I thought was fun. The better they do, the easier it is for you to like get a glimpse
Yeah.
beyond the
Yes.
veil.
So
And
cool.
that's not good. You don't want that.
So cool.
And then I gave them this strange hunger ability. So they can shift 2 squares, so long as doing so brings them closer to an enemy who is either winded or bleeding. Because they eat people.
Huh.
And then I've got the start of this, the Rough Beast, a level 5 leader horror. Big old, size 3, speed 7, 200 stamina, might be a little low. Stability 3, free strike 6, immunity, corruption, and psychic 6, and then I've just got a stat line of M4, A4, Reason 0, Intuition 2, Presence 2. So I didn't get to further than that with him
Hmm.
because I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to do. I ran into the problem that I didn't want to just make Lovecraft
Right.
creatures, but I also didn't want to just reskin Lovecraft creatures and not like I didn't want to make something that was basically Cthulhu, but I didn't call it Cthulhu because I thought that wasn't fun or
For
interesting.
sure. For sure.
So I got a little stuck on exactly what to do with this level 5 leader. I did steal the name from William Butler Yeats' poem called The Second Coming.
Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I was at a I was at a writer's workshop or a retreat over the weekend, and one of the workshops I did was apocalyptic poetry or poetry for the apocalypse, which was hosted by Dr. Tony May Mole. Shout out, she was incredible, she was amazing, and we went over that poem
That's
as one of the
hilarious.
examples. So another
Yeah, it's a really
another you read my mind in many ways on this one.
yeah, it's a really good poem. I hadn't realized one of my favorite turns of phrase, the center cannot hold, uh,
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
at least at the very least popularized by that poem. I had trouble finding if that's the first use of it, but it's definitely the popular use of it, at least.
Right.
Uh,
I feel like this podcast is the one full of coincidences. Like I remember when we gave Paul the prompt of Arthurian legend, and he studied it in like college, I think.
yeah, that was like
Yeah.
his like area of focus
There's a lot of
in
weird
university, and I was
coincidences.
yeah. Yeah, so I think I would love to come back to this because I'd love to make three. I'd love to finish the Rough Beast and make like 3 or 4 more creatures, such that like I could put this out there, and if somebody wanted to run some Eldritch Horror stuff, they could have like enough stuff, probably not for a campaign, but maybe enough stuff that they could run like a session
Kickstart.
or two.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
I think
Um.
this is a great. I mean, like you said, removing agency from the heroes is not much of a draw steal thing. I don't think there's that much agency gone here. I mean, the hero token thing is really funny, but it's not like the worst thing in the world. People
You
forget
could have
them anyway,
mentioned
as you said. I think like I've answered a lot of people have come in the draw steal the MCDM Discord asking like how do I do horror and draw steal, and I always answer the same thing because like I said I'm working on hopefully doing something like that. And my answer is like, I don't think you can do normal horror, but I think you can totally do action horror or like
Right.
noble dark horror, where it's like horror aesthetic, but you're still a hero doing hero stuff. And I think these guys, so like what you have so far is a perfect start. Like,
Yeah.
um, I think the whites being these like horde of little slavering things is very. It is there is like a classic Cthulhu mythos element to it because there are those kinds of creatures in it, but it's also just like more action oriented. It's like, yeah, this thing's gonna eat your brain, and feast
Yeah.
on your flesh. Um, I love the Adventure Time reference in the in Beyond Strength. Great.
I'm glad you caught that one.
Yep.
I actually I've never watched Adventure Time.
Yeah, I've watched some, but I have not watched up to that point. I just know the clip.
yeah, it's a good grill. Good
I
clip.
did I did strongly. I was like that is kind of what I want because that is a kind of a turn
Yeah,
for the series is cuz it's very heroic otherwise. So I thought that's exactly the kind of the vibe I was going for. I think I might actually, because I had an idea for doing something about taking recoveries away from players. I don't know if I'd do it as a malice feature or as an ability,
hmm,
and I think the name Beyond Strength might work better there.
sure, yeah, 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 makes sense.
So I think I'd probably when I eventually do come back to this because I really want to. I think I might rename that feature and give either a malice feature or one of these creatures an ability to take people's recoveries and call that one Beyond Strength.
Totally. And the five malice with the inverted reason test and the same for the inverted potency is again like pitch perfect. Have either of you guys played Call of Cthulhu?
Yeah, I have briefly.
I've tried.
Yeah, we
It's
Jacob and I were in a campaign that didn't get off the ground, but I've been in other Call of
Gotcha.
Cthulhu games.
So I don't know if this is exactly what you're going for specifically, or just it happened to coincide, get the same idea. But it's one of the mechanics I love. Call of Cthulhu, a very simple game, just D100 skills. It's not that complex. One of the mechanics that I love about it is that when you fail a sanity check and you lose sanity, you have to make an intelligence test, and if you succeed the intelligence test, then you go insane. If you don't, uh, you just lose your sanity, but you're fine. You can still act. So it's as Brendan Lee Mulligan says, being dumb is a superpower in that universe, and I love that.
Yeah.
Whether intentional or not, I don't know, but I love that you instantly just captured that, and again that just the core mechanics of Draw Steel just lend themselves to that because we already have these tiered tests, and just by inverting the order, you can create that same effect. I will say this is a problem I've run into a lot recently. Is there is a rule in the game that lets you choose a lower tier result whenever you make a power roll. So you would need some text saying they can't do that because otherwise they can
Okay,
always.
that's fair.
But assuming that that's not allowed, love it and it's incredible.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking of that specific rule from Call of Cthulhu, but I was thinking about Call of Cthulhu and its
Yeah.
mechanics when I was doing this. I was I definitely my favorite Call of Cthulhu mechanic for like knowing things is bad, and I don't know if this is definitely a thing in all editions of Call of Cthulhu, but the one I've actually played, I know that you're adding to your mythos stat, your knowledge of the mythos,
Yes.
subtracts from your sanity,
Yes, love that too. Oh, such a
which I love.
good little detail. Yep.
So yeah, that's my things. I
Awesome.
do,
Oh, that's really good.
yeah.
Yeah, you absolutely hit exactly the beats that I think are appropriate for Draw Steel. This is exactly the kinds of things that I also intend to be doing in if I get the adventure together at any point. It's very, very cool stuff. I really enjoyed that.
I'm glad to hear it. Oh man, I was I really had a tough time with this one. I think I had more trouble with this one than I even did with Cozy Fantasy, which
Mm-hmm.
because Cozy Fantasy, I was like, I don't know what to do, but I know I don't know what to do, and I was just kind of like, well, I'll just have to do something. Whereas this one, I was like, I know what I want to do, but I don't know how to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how to do it without it just being, like I said, just copy and paste Lovecraft,
Yeah, absolutely.
which I really wanted to avoid.
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad you. I really like the direction you went in.
And with that, I believe that's all three of us having sort of shown off our projects.
And
Yeah,
now our secret guest.
that would be that would actually be kind of funny to do sometime.
I couldn't think. I was gonna say like some community member, and then I was like, the three names that jumped to the top of my head first are people you have already had on the show. So
That's a good sign. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we're just that cool. So
Yeah. And now you've joined that illustrious club.
I'm
Yeah.
very excited and pleased and delighted and honored to be here.
No, yeah. Again, thank you so much for being on the show. I really
Yeah.
think you did a great job today.
Thank you. I think you guys did a great job. I loved you guys. You again, you guys were like, oh, you feel bad you didn't do as much. You guys hit like you scratched two very big sections of my brain, like the cosmic infinity stuff and messing with the game mechanics. Love it, and the Eldritch horror stuff in the perfect sense for Draw Steel. Love it. Like this was an excellent day of inspiration for me. I really really enjoyed both of your guys what you came up with.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. And I believe that brings our podcast to a close for this episode.
Whew.
So, just so folks know, we won't be posting an episode next month due to some scheduling stuff, but for the month of January, we should be posting our next episode. And this time, not in Draw Steel. For next, we'll be going on to Metamorphosis Alpha. We'll be designing like a 1973?
1976, I believe.
1976.
1974's original D&D. Metamorphosis Alpha is 2 years later.
Yeah. Where can people find us, Will?
Well, you can find us on YouTube, where you're probably listening to this. Blue Sky, which has a link tree to most everything else, including our Discord, our itch.io page, our relatively new Patreon, where for $2 a month you get access to unedited episodes as well as end of episode shoutouts. Unfortunately, we don't have any of those yet. No one. We've gotten a few people who have come and looked, but no one that I am aware of has joined any of the paid memberships. In addition, on our Patreon, you can get early access to new episodes, special roles on our Discord if you are interested in those, access to the VODs of our prototyping sessions for Project Dendrotelm, our in the works fairy tabletop RPG.
Awesome. And
Very cool.
Jonas, where can people find you?
Yeah, I got a list. Mainly, you can check out my link tree, and that will point you to everything I do. It's linktr.ee/TINTENSEHER, the way my last name is spelled in the show notes or whatever you're looking at right now. From there, you'll find my itch.io, where I post all my RPG content. You'll find Team Elsewhere, where I am working on an indie supernatural like SCP control-esque paperwork game. It's way more fun than it sounds, I promise. If you like Papers, Please, or any of those kinds of games, you'll love it. Red Clover Case Files is a visual novel I'm working on. You can find that everywhere at Red Clover Case Files. And I've also joined up with Triglav Games. So they are at Triglav Games, I believe, everywhere. They just funded their Boggets of Kingsmire backer kit, which I believe is currently the most funded Draw Steel project on backer kit, which I'm going to be writing some content for. And then also the Vampire will be coming out in the next couple months, and I'm going to be not doing any new design on that, but helping out with that as well, and whatever comes in the future. So yeah, check out my links, check out Team Elsewhere, Red Clover Case Files, Triglav Games, and thank you for your time and attention. I know that those are short commodities in the modern era.
That's all really exciting. They can all be found in the description, by the way. At least the link tree can be.
We'll have all the links we can down in the description for everyone to peruse those at their leisure.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm at Tintenseher on anything. Also, I'm not much for posting, but I do post every now and then. Mostly when I'm working on stuff.
And you do have a backlog on Blue Sky from October of your Prompttober.
Yeah.
Was it?
If you want to check out all that stuff I worked on, it's all back there. I'm going to be making I'm updating and reformatting them for a combined release at some point as well.
I was about to say, I'd love to see
there's some really cool stuff in there.
Yeah, that's all really well made.
You want to fight a scarecrow? Promptober.
And with that, I believe we'll see you all next time.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, of course, thank you for coming.